What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, our Monday show, presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. I am out here outside Eugene, Oregon, and what is the perfect Muskox flannel day. I'm guessing it's like that back there in Michigan. Whether it's 0 degrees and you've got a dusting of snow, whether it's 50 degrees and you're outside ready to play pickleball at this Airbnb I'm at outside Eugene, Muskox is here for you. Muskox also has an incredible sale going on right now. It's their Muskox warehouse sale. Save 25% on newly added field grand flannels, 35% on end-of-line styles. Go to gomuskox.com, and you can find incredible savings there. You can also use the promo code Peacock for $15 off your flannel purchase if it's not one of those situations where you get a better offer through Muskox. Jason, how you doing, brother?
I will. Anyway,
cold day in hell before I give up on Coen Carr.
Let's go green, go God.
What's up, buddy? Thanks for asking that question to Coach Izzo there to get that clip. I love it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was something I was curious about, and I had it in the 3 quick takes, and wanted to be able to put that in there and add that to it and what he was thinking.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I give up on Coen Carr.
Anyway, how's Oregon, buddy? I saw you and Solari sitting like 4 spaces apart during the Washington game. You guys good? I want to update on the Airbnb situation.
It's great. I'm in this. They have this separate area here. I'm in a garage right now. Okay, and it's like a fully furnished garage that never is used for cars. It's got sofas. It's got but it's where the router is for the Wi-Fi. So that's why I'm here for our mobile studio. But yeah, it's great. It's got a pickleball court. It's got a good setup. Watched the games last night. It's Solari and I have bunk beds just like we wanted, and
nice.
It's really fantastic. It's perfect.
Graham.
Things are good here, and
good.
Things have been good for Michigan State basketball this trip, and fun to write about. Got to write the Denham Wojcik column.
Yeah,
which
some people were claiming that you were going a little green wall there for the Denham Wojcik thing. I got a text like, "Is your boy going green wall?"
We'll talk
Denham
about
Wojcik? I'm like, "Did you read it?" No, of course not.
Solari called Denham Wojcik like a modern-day Connor George. Because you remember when Connor George was on the Michigan State basketball team? Like once a year there was a game where it fit for me to write the Connor George column. And
is that a compliment?
I don't know. Actually,
no offense to Connor George, by the way.
Yeah, no, I don't actually know. It's not necessarily a negative, but Connor George was different in that he was not. Every year he was sort of in the rotation for Michigan State. Here and there, like it took an injury or there'd be a game or whatever. Usually it was a important non-conference game, but rarely was it like, but he was never in it like Denham Wojcik is, where he's the backup point guard for a guy who's having an all-conference and maybe all-American season like Jeremy Fear. So, little different scenario, but I understand. I understand the comparison.
Are we a jinx? Is the Couch and the Rube show a jinx because Jackson Kohler's dad, Jeff Kohler, was on the show, and he played one of his worst games of the year. I mean, I know he'll bounce back, but, man, maybe we're a bad luck or something.
He didn't shoot well, and it was kind of a funky game. He had some okay moments, but, yeah, he didn't shoot well, and the matchup was a tricky one because they had length and size. But, yeah, it was not his best game. Maybe that's it. Maybe we've been asked to have Jeff Kohler on regularly at this point, so maybe he'll decline. We'll see if I can get him over here later.
Every week?
Pickleball. Every week. Just make him the Wednesday, the midweek.
You guys are boys now. Did you text him when you touched down?
We have touched base here. I've not. Yeah, I saw him briefly in Washington at the game in Seattle. So that was cool. By the way, our Monday show today also presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. If you're looking for a place to watch the College Football National Championship game Monday night, the NFL playoffs coming this weekend, I'd say the Australian Open, which I'm obsessed with, but those are overnights, and those don't really fit the hours of any American establishment. But an incredible place to gather to watch games, to have a date night, and that Front 43 and Cask and Company, just north of Frandor, near the Lansing-East Lansing border. Are you ready to dig into these takes?
Go for it. We got
All
one?
Right. Yeah, I'll start here. I thought this game for Michigan State at Washington was one of the better examples of how this MSU team is better than a year ago, as good as they were eventually and at times a year ago. And there are lots of evidence of it, but this was a good sort of 1v1 comparison. Because if you look a year ago, they come out to LA, they go out to LA and they lose to USC and UCLA, and that USC team, in terms of talent, where it ranked in Ken Pom and all that sort of stuff, was very similar to this Washington team. And what was interesting is that it really shows the difference in how having an elite point guard, having somebody who can take over a game or take control of a game down the stretch like Jeremy Fears did as a third-year guy, redshirt sophomore, and shepherd the game out and see the game out and do what he did. And where his level of play is so much more elite than it was a year ago, has it really made the bigger difference than other things. Like there are elements of this team that are better than last year because they have more length, or their big guys inside are more seasoned and better. But there are elements to last year's team that had some strengths too in terms of different types of guards and guys who could handle the ball and secondary scorers and things like that this team doesn't have in quite the same way. You're so much better off having this version of Fears than last year's version of Fears with the guards they had and the bigs they had. But it just shows you the difference point guard play can make at that level and what he's become and what he's become lately in terms of scoring and just sort of taking care of Michigan State in moments. That's what a point guard's supposed to do. I thought, the thing against Indiana he did so well was when he had to be a scorer, he was a scorer, right? And then he had to be a distributor. And this Washington game, which was kind of a funky game and a game where MSU's biggest advantage in the first half wasn't even with him in the game for quite a while. In the second half, you really saw the difference he makes. And I think, this was a good comparison of who last year's Michigan State team was at this time, basically, versus what this year's Michigan State team is. And a day that, again, Jackson Kohler, 0 for 5 for 3, not a day where everything went as it sometimes does. And there are other elements of this MSU team that I think are important and different and give them a chance. I think the way Kurt Tang is shooting the ball helps out a lot. I think who Jordan Scott is helps out a lot. I think there are lots of, as poorly as Jackson Kohler shot the ball, you saw Carson Cooper knock down a couple shots, but who those guys have become on the glass and defensively, even relative to a year ago when they took major steps, is a difference. But this was a good game to see it. And this trip is not, Oregon on Tuesday night is a mess. Like they've got their two top players are now out for extended periods, one probably for the season, and Shielstad, the guard who had 22 against Michigan State last year. And they're having a nightmare of a season. They're 8-10 at this point. Michigan State ought to be able to take care of business there. I don't think that game will be a great example of something to really measure anything on. But I think this Washington game was, and the way they took care of business showed the difference from a year ago.
But let me ask you a question. I mean, the slow starts, they grind on me a little bit because I know you can get away with it against a Washington, right? But when you play a top 25 team, are they going to be able to get away with a slow start like that? And I know that Izzo doesn't want to give up on Coen Carr. No one's asking him to, but he has to understand, Izzo, that it is concerning. And like we talked about last week on the show, if that Cohen Carr is going to be a big piece if this team wants to win a national championship. So it has to be talked about. But no one's talking about getting rid of Cohen Carr, even benching him.
a couple things on that front. The slow starts, I didn't see the game as being necessarily a slow start. I think sometimes it takes a while you're feeling each other out. That's just a natural game. That happens in sports. You see it in NFL games. I mean, one of the reasons I lose so much money betting unders in the NFL is like after, 3 possessions, I'm like, these teams can't move the ball on each other. Under 40, boom. And then by the second half, it's up and down, and, they figure it out. And I think that has something to do with it. Like, Washington has good talent. Washington's probably an example of why you don't want quite that much roster turnover. Their fit isn't perfect, and their program just doesn't have certain things as ingrained as Michigan State does. I mean, MSU is a great example this year of why you want to have not just roster continuity, but sort of the sweat equity and the program pride that comes with, if you're Jeremy Fears Jr., you're not just playing for yourself and your future and everything. There's a part of him that wants to be that great point guard in that program, that lineage and legacy of that. And my guess is Washington doesn't have that, right? And there's a little something there. So the slow starts, I didn't. It wasn't a great start, and credit to Kurt Tang and that second unit and Denham Wojcik as well, and we'll get into him in a little bit.
I know, I'll shut up. They're 16-2, 6-1 in the Big Ten. They just won by 17. Here I am. I can't even give a compliment.
No, but
I mean, it is great how they're finishing games. It was just what I noticed at the beginning, watching this team every single game. It's just like, the slow start seemed to chat my ass a little bit. But
that, Jason, I think you're right. Like, this is how you're covering or rooting for a really good team.
Yeah.
When the things that bother you are, things like that. In a game that a year ago, similar situation, they lost, right? I mean, yes, the MSU crowd was terrific in Seattle, but it was great in LA last year too, right? So it may not have been quite this, but it was, they had a lot of fans on hand. To Coen Carr, and we'll talk about him as we get into these listener takes even more. But Izzo said he is a little concerned. And I think that the thing with Carr that I would be most concerned about is confidence. Like, do you lose confidence in certain ways? And there have been guys throughout time that lost confidence and it changed their role. And that's why I would be careful about limiting his role. You can lessen his minutes a little bit here and there. Take a minute off a little, on this stint or that stint and get more out of Jordan Scott. And at some point, this is big boy basketball and you need to do that. But if you do too much, you hurt the confidence and you need him. And you need him to be confident. You don't want something like Chris Hill years ago where it is, just really loses his mojo there. So that's where I would be concerned is this. Now, he did hit a 3, which is always good for him.
I saw that.
And so that's something. He doesn't have, bad body language, which I think is really important. You see a lot of guys. But
you shouldn't when you can dunk the way he can dunk. I don't know.
Correct,
you still have that in you.
But if you feel like you're struggling, bad body language follows it, right? And so that would be a.
But see, then he hits a 3. But then he hits a 3, Graham. Then he's 1 for 4 from the free throw line. It's like we were hoping when we saw him hit that 3, like maybe that'll spur some confidence or something like that. But
he's got to be aggressive. He's got to play with purpose offensively. He doesn't have to shoot a lot. Doesn't have to take a lot of outside shots. Doesn't have to, but he's got to play with purpose offensively. And I think he's lost a little of that.
I just wish you never would have told me that he hits 33s in practice. It's like when I was in Vegas and one of the Uber drivers told me that every red light is exactly 5 minutes long. And I was like, why did you tell me that? I did not need to know that.
Yeah, more than 33s. I would say it was 50 range or something like that
guy.
out of like 100. Yeah, it's
I know, it's just wild.
Yeah, it's just a totally different situation. But and I think one of the dangers with the free throw shooting, if it does regress, is that when guys lose confidence at the free throw line, they tend to get less aggressive in the paint and less aggressive when they think they're going to be fouled. Like, they don't want to be in that situation. And Coen Carr and guys like Cam Ward, who struggled at times shooting free throws, they need to be guys who want to be active and aggressive and draw contact in the paint. Like, that's a big part of who they are for MSU's team, and go after rebounds and all that stuff. Like that, they can't be fearing the free throw line. And so that to me is a little bit relates to how Coen Carr's feeling about himself, and I think that's a little bit.
But the thing is, though, Graham, I mean, mentally, if you're Coen Carr and you hear this,
It'll be a cold day in hell before I give up on Cohen Carr.
I mean, right? I mean, you have the confidence of your coach, so why not pull some shots, just relax, and who gives a shit? I mean, your coach has your back. Your teammates have your back. Some people in the media or some people, fans might get on you, but I mean, just the confidence level. It's just really interesting. It'd be a good question for Izzo, like, how do you coach a player like that when he's in a slump and you can't sit there and have him regress or pull minutes from him because, like you said, he's going to get more. The body language might change. It's really a delicate situation.
Well, and the challenge with Cohen Carr is he has some limitations as a player,
sure,
right? So it's not like he's a do everything wing who is just not shooting well or this isn't going well, and they have to create some things for him to be successful. Now, some of that's on him. Like, he's got to be somebody who is just moves, I mentioned with purpose, but he's got to be somebody who, when teams aren't guarding him at all, doesn't just settle for threes when the confidence isn't there, but really attacks that, really goes at him, because he can, if you're playing off Cohen Carr by 8 feet and Cohen Carr with a running start just goes at you, that's a little bit daunting. You know what I mean? Now, you got to be careful you don't draw charges and all those sort of things. But I think, I'll be very curious. I think he is one of the more important players against Oregon. Like, this is a game where you don't want guys to fall into slumps, and everything's going pretty well. I mean, Kohler has a bad game, but that's one bad game in a season that's going exceptionally well. A lot of other guys have really found something and are doing all right. I think Carr is a guy that you want to see. And these next 3 games before they play Michigan, you've got Oregon on the road, Maryland at home Saturday, at Rutgers. Like, if you're Michigan State, you want him to leave those 3 games feeling in a decent place about himself. I think that's important. What's your first take?
Well, it was very an interesting scene at the Midnight Tavern at the Couch and Rube household, the Rube household last night with the Bears game. I don't know if you could hear my wife from Oregon screaming at that Cole Kmet touchdown. By the way, number 14 for the Rams, what the fuck was he doing on that play? Shout out Caleb Williams. That was an amazing throw that I thought about for at least like a half hour after that game ended. I was like, that was an unbelievable throw. But what my hot take is it's such an amazing product. I say the NFL's rigged and the NFL refs are ass. But the refs have been ass, and there has to be a fundamental change in the offseason and a change to NFL refs. I understand. I know, and Hans Jurgen, I know he's, well, why don't you referee? I know it's a hard job, but something has to change fundamentally of how these plays are reviewed and how these refs are calling it. There's multiple times these flags that are so late, and I saw a ref yesterday in the Bears game. And he was like, he wanted to throw a flag. But he sit there,
pass.
The deep pass, and he had his thing, on his thing, and he's like, are you going to call it or not? And there's just a lot of things, and like the Bills-Broncos, Graham, the interception, that that not taking as much time as you need in certain cases when you should have reviewed that play. In McDermott having to call a timeout and beg the refs. I just don't know what we're doing with this review, because I understand a bang-bang situation when you're just a human being on a field with these giant monsters in pads tackling each other. It's hard to call it in the moment. But when you get it wrong, when you don't get it right, when you go and do these reviews and you have someone, they tell me someone in New York is watching this shit along with Terry McCauley or whoever. Why are we not taking more time on some of these big plays to review them when we take, on a 3rd and 1 or something, you review it 9 ways to Sunday on a 3rd and 1, and did the guy get the ball over the first down line? Go ahead.
I think there needs to be, you got to understand these are, if there's a change of possession or a pass interference downfield or even time of the game, you could decide inside of 5 minutes, we're going to review these sort of things. But I agree on some of these. You could make an argument that any penalty, and this would basically be pass interference, but any penalty more than 15 yards, or you could say more than 10 that counted on personal foul calls, because personal foul calls I think are sometimes exceptionally punitive and things that should have been called differently. But so this is where soccer does something pretty well with having VAR, which is their replay, and they can add a penalty or not. Now it can't be close in that situation. So if it's that's what people wouldn't want, because they wouldn't want to slow things down and, technically that defensive back touched his hand, and so, boom, that's a 50-yard pass interference call. But on obvious missed calls, it can correct it for you. And that would, because I know exactly what you're talking about on that deep pass. Nobody's watching the play. I'm watching the ref.
Yep.
We're all watching the ref as his hands around his belt, thinking, he's going to pull that out. He's going to throw the flag. He's going to throw the flag. And if you have money a certain way, you're like, don't throw the flag. Don't throw the flag. And then, and he doesn't. And he just sort of decides, I guess not. Like, yeah, that stuff is hard to trust. And I think they have to. There's a few too many things that are judgment calls that are huge calls that could be. I think there could be better peace of mind. I think it would work for the refs' favor too if they knew they had that backing. Like, so if you're an official and because in the NFL having the spot foul on the pass interference is one of the most punitive things that exists, right? So if there's a deep ball up there and you're watching it and I'm going to trust my eyes on this, but if I get this wrong in a huge spot, I've got an eye in the sky to either back me up or fix it or whatever. I think that would actually help them. I think it does. I think it makes a difference when what you're doing doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all in a crucial situation.
And a clean explanation of what is pass interference. Do you let guys battle back and forth with their hands? Because a lot of it, you're going to sit there and it's going to be, you can call a lot of that stuff pass interference. It's like on punt returns or kick returns. There's usually a hold on those. Or when the offensive lineman is all of a sudden jumping on, the right tackle, they're allowing him to jump. Obviously, it's a false start, but they're letting him do it because these defensive ends are getting so gigantic and fast now but let's talk about it and announce it. And here's the other thing too. Why aren't these referees full time? All of this money, I'm talking about college and pros. Miss me with all of this shit. There is money flowing out of college football's ass and NFL's ass. Why do these guys have to, like, it's 1952 when Major League Baseball players had to work as a teacher, and then during the season they would have to take the summer off. They would get the summer off. It's just ridiculous that these referees can't, because there's YouTube guys that are making fucking $100,000 a month. Why can't we sit there? The NFL makes billions and billions of dollars, but you can't have referees full time?
So the NFL is a better argument. Now, the argument would be you wouldn't get as good of people. You wouldn't get the same people. Because a lot of these folks, especially in football and basketball, it's a different argument, right? The NBA does have full-time referees, and in college you should argue they should because it's 6 nights a week. But a lot of these guys who have other passions and other jobs and other careers would not do this and make more in their other jobs. And so that's one argument. In the NFL, though, there's probably money for it. In college, where things are getting nickel and dimed and cut and all the money goes, they're not going to do it in college. They're just not going to do it in college football. They're not going to, because to do it anywhere, to make people give up their other jobs for this 4-month-a-year deal, you'd have to like triple salaries everywhere.
Okay, and the money's there. If you're going to give me quality referees week in and week out, where there's some sort of academy or something where these guys they are unionized. I don't know. I'm not smart enough to figure all that out. I'm just saying I keep hearing like these guys having to work other jobs. And So what? So you're a college football referee full time. So you have a bunch of time off. There's a lot of people in America that don't work that much and make a bunch of money. I mean, why is that such a big deal? We care about this referees and we care about sports so much, and we all pour money and time and our hearts into this shit. So why don't the referees get paid when your leagues are making so much money?
No, look, in a perfect world, it'd be there. I mean, your ticket prices would have to go up, your cable subscriptions go up a little bit, but other than so we would pay for it.
Fuck them.
We would pay for it to do it.
Why do we need to pay for it? They should pay for it. What are you talking about?
They're not going to do it. They're only
let's start a GoFundMe for Roger Goodell. But I mean, the NFL product, you can't argue against it. It is absolute cinema. Absolute fucking cinema. And I hate it.
I have one more take.
All right.
The College Football National Championship is Monday night. So depending on when you're listening to this, it may already happen. That's irrelevant. It has to be a precursor to the NFL playoffs. They have to change that. More than anything else going on in college football, they've got to find a way to work on the calendar. And that goes for the portal. We know that. We know that they need to fix how that works. Obviously contracts would be helpful, but when the schedule of the college football playoff, when signing day is, when the portal windows are open, whether spring football still exists, and when the championship games are, has to be like, miss me with everything else until you work on those things, starting the season a little earlier, whatever it might be. Because college football, if you think about what fits naturally, the way we think of it, it is a precursor to the NFL. It's Saturdays, the NFL Sundays. By the time you get to Sunday and you're watching your NFL team Sunday night, nobody's thinking about college football, right? Saturdays are college football. Sundays are NFL. It is baked in here. And I'm not saying the NFL doesn't get in the way and other things. But before the college football season, This championship game needs to be done before the first wild card weekend. So, and you can easily figure out when that was. That's last weekend, right? And it doesn't need to be on a Monday night. It can be on a Saturday. And if you're going to go, make it Saturday night with the NFL playing earlier in the day, you could probably find a way to make that work. And so maybe it's a little bit wild card weekend. The national championship, finishes the first Saturday of wild card weekend or something like that. But that has to be as late as it goes, because this is like, I'm out in Oregon.
So you're not bothered by it being on a Monday?
I don't love it on a Monday. I'd rather it on Saturday. The national championship in basketball has been on a Monday forever. I don't like that either. I don't love it from a kid's standpoint. I mean, I still have very vivid memories of negotiations with my dad when I was 7 years old to try to get him to stay up or let me stay up to watch, Ronnie Cycli and Derek Coleman in Syracuse for Steve Alford in Indiana in '87. Like, it was like, all right, you got to take a nap. All right, okay, I can stay up. It's not great. But I also understand when you're talking about games at night, you got people in the West Coast on different time zones. I get all that. But yeah, I would love that if it was on a Saturday. Basketball's a shorter game, though. Football, these are 3.5-hour deals, and I know it's starting at 7:30, or I don't know actually what time the tip-off time is. Coverage is at 7:30. Yeah. And it's cool out. I mean, it's a 4:30 kick out here. Great. I got time to go to the gym, get a workout in, come back. 4:30. It is weird being out here when everything's done at 7:30, and you're like, well, now what? All the football is over, all the sports are over, all the Australians Open is on, so that helps right now. But I just think that they desperately need to fit. Like, we have so many things that we are naturally engaged with certain sports at certain times. It is baked in. It's how we see a sport. It's when we feel most passionate about it. And college football has that. It has our attention. It loses our attention right now. We're going to watch the game, but I was not like, sweet, the national championship's on. Oh, I can't wait for this. It just happens. I just broke my chair for real. This is not good. I shouldn't lean back in this. I just broke it. Oh, God. I just broke a chair at this Airbnb. A really nice wooden chair. Oh, God. This is not good. I'll move to the couch here behind it.
Dude, that's the same sound. Hold on.
I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair. I should not be leaning back in that. I think it would have held me, but I leaned back. Oh, God. I'll have to explain that to them. That could cost the LSJ a pretty penny.
Dude, you broke the Airbnb chair?
One of them. It was in the garage. It's like there's a bunch of them around a table but they're nice. I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy.
Dude, I heard that same sound.
Oh, God, I'm still fat all these years later, it turns out. Not great. Not
Is it
great.
like one of those hipster chairs, all fancy, like those ones that are like a retro chair? Oh my God, dude! Send us a picture of the chair.
Okay, I will send it out. That's not. God.
You need to take a break?
No, I'm okay. Let's keep going. Do you have another take, sir?
How the fuck am I gonna have a take after you breaking another chair?
I know, it's not good.
Oh man! Shout out Chris Goddard for winning the Sony Open. Week 1 golf bets were fun, but I netted I think $14 after all the bets are said and done. I can't wait to talk more golf with people. It was fun talking golf with certain people in my life. So anyway. I can't. There's nothing I can do after you breaking another chair.
I apologize.
Live, by the way.
What are you going to do?
But my other take was about the national championship game being on Monday night. It doesn't make any sense on a Monday. Why not Friday night? Last Friday they couldn't have done the game. I mean,
the TV ratings they don't want Friday nights, but It should be. You're right. It should be on Saturday. It should just be earlier. The problem is it loses steam.
Yeah.
You have all this time. So few teams are left. As the playoff starts with this big kind of cool thing with 12. It's great at 8. It's fun at 4, and it just ends with a whimper. Now this is a game that I think is intriguing. I think Miami, Indiana is a good one. There's lots of reasons, and that helps. But like if this was Oregon versus Miami or Oregon versus Ole Miss would have been interesting because of the Lane Kiffin deal. But if this was Oregon versus Miami, and it would be weird to be out here in Oregon for that, especially after just being in Seattle when the Seahawks are playing. That place was insane. But I would have so much less interest in this game. Not to the point that I wouldn't watch it, but it would not be. The Indiana component makes this more interesting and helps. It's just. It's just a thing that's on, though. It's not something that you're looking for. It's not like the NFL, where the Super Bowl is a day. This day is the Super Bowl. Like, college football should strive to want us to feel about the college football championship game day the way we feel about Super Bowl Sunday. And you'll never quite get there. But Super Bowl Sunday has a feel to it. It's not the best football day of the year. Best football day of the year is either this weekend we just had divisional playoffs or championship Sunday, right? Those are better days, multiple games. Those are the best football days. But it's still a day that feels different. This day doesn't feel different. It's just going to be something that's on. It's 7:30 Eastern time tonight. One final take now that I'm sitting on this couch looking at this chair. By the way, the Muskox flannel can do a lot for you. Like it, I look fantastic.
Yeah,
out
you
here.
can throw one over
chin,
that chair.
Yeah, you can hide a broken chair. But the big thing it can't actually help you lose weight. It can make you look slimmer. It can make you look better. It can hide your man boobs. It can hide your third chin. But it cannot fix your fat ass. And but it can do a lot of good things for you. So go muskox.com. Again, Peacock for $15 off for Couch and the Rube listeners as well. All right, you want to dig into these listener takes?
By the way, Bill Hushzen in the YouTube chat said, "Rest in peace, Graham's chair."
I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair. Nice chair.
I never thought I'd hear that sound from the Zion clip ever again. I thought that was a one-time thing. You've broken multiple chairs. Man, all right.
This one, the last one just gave way. This one, I was stupidly, the way that was set up, I was like leaning back with it, which was dumb. I was putting extra pressure on a couple legs in the back.
You're going to have to buy the owner a new chair.
Yeah, well, it's a set, too. This could be expensive. See what I changed years ago. I changed the LSJ's expense policy on like cars being towed. I was in Maryland with covering a game, and it was out with Matt Charbonneau, and we didn't see the sign that says no parking here. It was a bad sign. We didn't look hard, but it was not where it needed to be. Go into a sports bar, eat dinner, come out, rental car is gone. Don't have any idea where it is. And we eventually find this sign that says it's been towed, so we look up the number. We go to some backyard lot somewhere, pay $170 to get the car back. And I expensed it. I was like, it's the cost of doing business, not my, it is what it is. I saved this company money on lots of other decisions, including like this Airbnb, which is a great deal. So that, it's not ideal, but they're going to, that's why we're here. It's much cheaper than, it turns out Sunday through Wednesday in January in Eugene, Oregon is not the most expensive time for Airbnbs. But that's why I expensed it. And like, they paid for it, but like 2 days later, there was an email that came out company-wide throughout Gannett that had a list of things you were responsible for yourself on the road. By the way, that is a story almost worth telling. Told anyway, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. An outstanding place for a date night and a cozy drink or whatever it might be. All right, let's dig into these listener takes.
One more time.
I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
I'm going to have to clip that other one, too. All right, Eric Schultz up first. Couch is right that Cohen Carr contributes even when he's not scoring. But for this team to make a deep run and contend for a title, it can't keep looking like 4-on-5 offensively when he's out there.
You're right. They need more from him, or they're going to need less of him. It's one of the two ways, right? You can't, like, there's an argument that what Jordan Scott gives them defensively, next to Kurt Tang, who doesn't give them as much defensively, but the way he's shooting, there's an argument that Jordan Scott and Kurt Tang become a pairing that makes some sense a little more. And you saw Coen Carr's minutes be less. But I don't think ultimately what you want for MSU is less Coen Carr because he's not playing well. You want Coen Carr playing well. Because when he's confident, when he's at his best, we've seen those games. And it's some of it's the shooting, but it's more about what he looks like in the paint in the half court, how hard he runs on the break, all those sort of things. And teams are trying to take that away from him because they understand the impact of his dunks on the break and the momentum changes and all those sort of things. But Eric's 100% right here. Like that, for this team to maximize who it is, they need certain things to continue to grow. They need Jordan Scott to continue to grow, Cam Ward, Kurt Tang to be consistent in his shooting, all those sort of things. But Cohen Carr is going to play a big role on the team, and so they need Cohen Carr is playing offense with purpose.
Dominic next. Number 1, that was so fun. What a cool ride. Bears finally have that guy. DJ Moore cutting off his own route is just unfortunate. Go Bears. Excuse me. And go Jason for sending me a keep your head up text, whereas Couch was too busy playing grab ass, spooning with Solari by the fireplace. And 2, earmuffs, Jason. Caleb is him. Certain LSJ columnist said that Scott Powers said Caleb didn't work hard and it wouldn't work with Ben Johnson. Stay in your lane, Couch. Caleb is going to lead Chicago to a Super Bowl. Graham's contribution to Chicago? Hashtag Staircase Murder 2005.
All right, there's so many inaccuracies here that we should.
I mean, he got away with that staircase murder. So I mean,
first of all, it wasn't in 2005. Also, I don't know when it would have been because it wasn't me. It wasn't actually a murder, but it was not 2005. It wasn't in Chicago, and Scott Powers is not the one who said anything about Caleb because Scott Powers, who covers the Blackhawks, barely knows when the Bears game is happening these days. But did you? I mean, like, if you're a Bears fan today. Do you feel like what do you feel right now? Because there is obviously the disappointment. You were in overtime with a chance to, and you had opportunities, and Ben Johnson could have gone for 2, or there were other. You had opportunities to win that game and go out to Seattle, and whatever happens there, happens. But what do you feel right now if you're a Bears fan?
I just look in the mirror and go, man, I can't believe our window closed. Our window's closing. That's what I really hate that more than anything. I know it's because it's been a Lions kind of trope kind of thing of like the window's closing. As the fucking Patriots dynasty, by the way. I'm sick of these Patriot fans and Boston fans. I mean, I respect you. That's got to be amazing, but I do hate you. But no, I mean, you have to be worried about the schedule next year because you all of a sudden jump up to one of the harder schedules. I mean, I think Caleb Williams, the plays that he made, but he was also really bad in spots, this season too. You just got to start building around him, and I think their defense is already, I don't know. It's just tough to talk about Chicago like this because fuck Ben Johnson, But yeah, I have to say that was an exciting game. It would be good for momentum going into next year. But look at what happened to the Lions when you make the playoffs like that. You have a game like that where you get close, and then so
I would feel great if I were the Bears, but I would want to make sure everybody understood there was a lot of work still to do. Like, I would feel great in this sense. It feels like you have a quarterback, one of the, whether he'll ever be a top 3 quarterback, but you have a guy you're going to be able to count on as a top 10 guy and a playmaker who can do big things for you. Mm-hmm. It would feel you have a coach who I think people should be excited about. I would be a little concerned that so much good fortune happened for this season to happen. I would look at this team in terms of the roster more of where that Lions team was the year before they made the playoffs, and so there would need to be an understanding that like this isn't a stand pat time. Like this needs to be a growth time. This is not the best roster in football yet, but I would feel really good today if I were a Bears fan.
Even though the Bears are going to move to Indiana allegedly,
that wouldn't feel great, especially if they moved to Lansing, Michigan, or New Buffalo, Michigan, or someplace like that, which is just as easy to get to.
This guy always pimping Michigan whenever you can. It's just the best.
Why not? I mean, why not New Buffalo? Let's the FIPS, the Illinois people overtake our beach towns are already here all the time. So bring it.
Maybe. I think Coen Carr is embarrassed by the dunking. He wants to be seen as a talented, multifaceted player rather than a one-trick pony. All right. I mean, okay.
It's an interesting take. Like I don't know if he's embarrassed by that. He doesn't. I'm sure he does not want to be seen as a dunker. I know that. I've had that conversation. So, but he also understands that's part of what he brings, and so I don't think he.
Well, then I guess you have to stop windmill dunking from the free throw line on people's faces. I mean, what a terrible thing to have.
Yeah, but I understand what she's getting to here. Like the idea that like the more you do this, the more this is what you're known for. If you want to be known as a more complete player, it's harder to be known for that. Now, I would argue this in the sense that he is such an elite dunker at a level very few have ever done it. Period. And like ever. I mean, this is like peak Dr. J, peak Jason Richardson, Doug Anderson. We talked about this. There are probably 20 people who've ever walked this earth in all the years of basketball who are, close to the Cohen Carr level of dunking. And that's an incredible, that's an incredible place to be.
You failed to mention Vince Carter, one of the best dunkers of all time.
there you go. Lean into that, right? And the other thing is, it's going to make him a ton of money. The exciting player he is, whether it's right now he does not look like a future NBA player, but there will be a bidding war overseas for that guy to be in venues. Like if you're
to dunk. So if he doesn't want to be a one-trick pony, let's do it.
Correct. But yeah, right. But he needs to work on his whole game, and he knows that. And he's taken massive strides since he was a freshman. I think this year he took big strides last year, but he was in a smaller, more limited role. And this year was supposed to be this step up. And just because a year happens, and just because you improve certain ways, doesn't mean things always happen for you. But I do think mindset, aggression, and those sort of things offensively need to be something that he stays with. Because I think also for him, he tends to play better elsewhere, shooting everything when he's aggressive and he's having success in certain ways. I think the dunking doesn't hurt him. I think it helps him because it gets him involved in the games. I think the rebounding really helps him and whatnot.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I give up on Coen Carr.
Nathan next. Number one, if Jeremy Fears continues this type of offensive production, he has a real case as the best point guard in the Big Ten. And two, Jordan Scott should be playing 20 to 24 minutes a game and be a staple in the closing five.
Yeah, you're starting to see more of that. Like, hold on, give me some Hawk for 1 second.
I am the passenger.
That's crazy.
And I ride and I ride.
Come on.
So, if you look at Jordan Scott's minutes, he played 20 against Washington, 22 Indiana, 18 Northwestern, 18 USC. Now, he only played 13 Nebraska and did not play well that night, by the way. But 18 Cornell, 18. But you're starting to see it. Like, right, 22 Indiana, 20 Washington. Those things are starting to creep up. And, part of where that's coming from is, Cohen Carr played 22 at Washington. Played 30 against Indiana, 26 Northwestern, 24 USC, 30 Nebraska. So he's played, if you look at their high major games, he played 34 against Duke. But he's played a lot of upper 20s, low 30s. But that started to be a reflection. I think 22 for Cohen Carr. I think he'll play more than that. But I think, and Jordan Scott sometimes playing at the 2 as well. So it's not like, and Carr will play a few minutes here at the 4. So it's not like those guys are 1 for 1 necessarily. But Scott's minutes are going to increase. I'm going to tell you right now, they are well aware of what Jordan Scott is doing for them. And that, this is not like the fan base leading the staff to this. They see it. They know who he is and what he is for them. And they know Cohen Carr is struggling and they need more from him. And they've got to figure that out too.
Couch on fire next. Number one, those posters calling for Carr's benching and reduction in minutes. Sports is entertainment, and is there anything more entertaining than a number 55 Thunder dunk? Announcer calling him the best one-leg dunker ever. And two, wondering if the NHL layoff for the Olympics will help or hurt the Wings.
Well, I mean, it changes momentum. I don't know. I don't know if it'll help her. I'm just glad the NHL is back in the Olympic hockey because I love Olympic hockey and I want the best players playing in it now. I mean, back in the day when it was cool, the Miracle on Ice and all that stuff. But I mean, you would agree, Jason. Like Olympic hockey is awesome, and you want the best players in the world and their countries playing, right?
Absolutely. I mean, hockey period's awesome, but it's a different level of hockey especially when you have the pros in there. That's no hot take or anything. Is there any other sports that you're looking forward to? I know you just see the Lindsey Vonn commercials that we saw last night, and I was like, I guess you just kind of have to wait to see what the storyline is. But I got to say, in February, we're going to have it on every night.
Absolutely. I love that this year for me is one of the best sports years for a few reasons. One, I love the Australian Open. I love the late night watching. I struggled to go to sleep the other night because Venus Williams is playing and Alcaraz is playing. And then, but you go from like that to the Super Bowl to all of a sudden you get a couple weeks of the Olympics. Then it's like you're into March Madness baseball and then World Cup. Like it's a great sports year. I like the downhill skiing, the bobsledding, but especially, I mean, that's a cool runnings love for me. But the downhill skiing, I love. I like the Winter Olympics in some ways more than the Summer Olympics. I think because they're just cooler, different things that I don't usually see. I don't know. The downhill skiing is
I like the snowboarding, yeah. When they do like the half pipe thing, or not half pipe, but where they go up in the pipe or whatever. I think it's fun to watch that crazy shit. I couldn't imagine practicing that. So
I watched the figure skating too, and there's a lot. Yeah.
Not since Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding. Have I tuned in? I don't think. Kurt Wisniewski, number one. This is the MSU basketball team is a wanted since 2020. Warden Scott will break out like Richardson did last year. And bonus, Johnny Spirit used to get ready for games at my fraternity house at MSU and sold me a snowboard for my kid in Grand Rapids. Nice guy.
I won't tell Solari that. He's in the other room right now working, and he'll get fired up, and we wouldn't be able to finish the show.
Graham.
I do. I mean, it's interesting to listen to Izzo with this team. I have not seen Izzo enjoy, like, he's enjoyed moments of teams that he's got. He enjoyed last year's team a ton, but this year's team sort of adopted an identity he loves right away, and he's got the point guard that he really wants and enjoys having.
He's a bull in a china closet.
He's got a couple real cool development stories and his big guys. I mean, I think this is about as much fun as he's had, and as much as he's liked the team. I'm not just talking who we liking him off the court, but I think Ward and Scott are part of that, right? Having guys who are important and growing parts of what you do as freshmen makes things exciting, adds something new to what you are as a roster. Adds to the possibilities, and I think everybody can see that.
And how old is Kurt, by the way? Because I want to know how old Johnny Spirit was painting himself green at your fraternity house, though. I mean, like, yeah, he's a good guy getting ready for games at your fraternity house. Like, so a grown man was at your house painting himself green?
I don't think
Did you guys have to help him? I have so many questions.
I think Kurt is probably old enough that Johnny Spirit was – this is like early Johnny Spirit.
Okay.
Early.
So he was actually – it was possible he was a student there at the time? I mean –
yeah, but before it was creepy, certainly. You know what I mean? Because Johnny Spirit didn't become creepy until he, hit 30?
Which was what, 30 years ago?
20 years ago? I don't know. It's a good question. Yeah.
But still, if you're, late 20s. All right. Kevin from Rochester Hills, number one, Jeremy Fears knows when he has to take over a game. And two, C.J. Stroud is not a franchise quarterback. And three, multiple bathrooms are the key to a strong marriage.
I would agree there.
And courtesy flush.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Lift that cheek, turn around, boom. As soon as you drop a little tail, turn, boom, flush it down. Don't sit in your stink.
We have people stay over.
Don't do it.
The courtesy flush is one of the great. I mean, it's one of your great piece of advice of all time. When we have people stay over, and they stay in an area of the house and have their own bathroom, which is usually my bathroom, so I have to share with my wife. Like, I'm like on eggshells using the upstairs, my wife's bathroom. I don't want her to know that I was there. Zero footprint.
But do you guys have fans? Like, fans are key, not fan like a floor fan. I'm talking about the fans that you turn on with a button overhead. 100%. Those are so key to have.
You want to know
they have to be loud.
And they also change the air quality too. So I mean, that's the key.
It's more of a sound thing for me than air quality. I got to say, I need some sort of sound. You can't have just quiet as a church mouse like in there while you're taking a dump at someone's house. You need some sort of distraction, some sort of noise.
So I'll give you a little bit of a Midtown Brewing Company story we're telling you.
Oh, let's do it.
This is the one danger with bathroom vent fans. The downstairs vent fan that we have in my prime bathroom that we also use for if we have people over and we're on the back patio, it releases its air onto the back patio, which is great for every time. And yes, unless you do something untoward in there while you have people over or your wife sitting working on the back patio, it sucks. It's like the worst thing ever. Like, you're like, oh my God, somebody's on the back patio. I can't even go. It's awful.
Smell that heat.
Yeah, it's not.
How are you enjoying that out there? It sounds like a flaw in the system there.
Yeah, there is a.
It's the big old heat flap that goes right out to the deck.
One thing from Kevin here also, C.J. Stroud, not a franchise quarterback. Do you think he's a franchise quarterback?
Have you looked at the quarterbacks? What do you want, Jarrett Stidham? I'll take C.J. Stroud. I don't know. I know he had a terrible game, but
it was terrible playoffs. But I'll say that I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback, but I'd want him. I would take him over Jared Goff because of his age and I think his upside. And I think Jared Goff has some of the same propensity to turn the ball over in big games. So it's not like I'm going to, I would.
Well, I was listening to Dan Patrick this morning. He's like, teams are figuring this guy out, and you have to adapt. And it appears that C.J. Stroud is not adapting, and this offseason will be a big season for offseason for him. Right? You got to come back and change your game because people are kind of figuring you out. You've been in the league long enough, so
yeah.
But I can't. It's so hard when you see some of the backups and some of the quarterbacks in the league to shit on certain guys. It was Trevor Lawrence the previous offseason. Everybody was like giving up on him, and I'm like, I got to say, with the pedigree at Clemson, he's a proven winner in college. I just wouldn't give up on a guy so soon.
Yeah.
But if you have a bet on him yesterday, I can understand. David Jackson, Jesse McCulloch will average.
We missed one. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Who did we skip? Oh, geez. The Anton Harden of Southern Maine next. Best. Connor Cook is among better playoff quarterbacks than C.J. Stroud. And even better, if you ever question Caleb Williams because he painted his nails, but you celebrate him now, you suck.
What?
I mean, come on. It's a pro quarterback painting his nails. I mean, come on. He's going to get his balls busted.
Yeah, busting balls is different than like having some sort of saying that like naturally he's right.
What about when you were a kid and John Elway? Let's say John Elway painted two of his nails, right?
I would still have my nails painted to this day if that had happened. Yeah, probably.
It speaks volumes about you, right?
So Connor Cook. So I will say this about Connor Cook is an example of why backup quarterbacks should not want to ever play. Because, and this is for Jared Stidham, who's like 1-4 as a starter. He's a little more established, and maybe he'll last. But Connor Cook had some things going against him. He had a little too much bro in him, and I don't think when in a world now where you only have two quarterbacks and you're in a room with Tom Brady or whoever, a big star all the time, like they don't want that guy to be their only other guy. They want, they want Drew Stanton or
Jarrett Stidham.
They were Jared Stidham. But also, when you get that moment in the playoff, if you prove you cannot hold up, sometimes that's it. And like for Stidham, I'd be like, man, I had 10 years ahead doing this, and now I got to perform at a decent level, or I'm cooked. That's if Connor Cook had not had to play in that playoff game for the Raiders, I wonder if his career would have lasted a little longer.
David Jackson, Jesse McCulloch will average double-digit scoring next season. In a three-point shooting contest, he'd have a good chance of beating both Jackson Kohler and Kerr Tang. Pity we make no effort to get him shots.
We hit a big three in this last game. The problem for McCulloch is the same as it was for Kohler and Cooper early on and any young big man. Like, more than any other position, you have to do other things well to be on the court. Your job is not to hit threes until it is. Jackson Kohler, is now a guy who's a counted on, relied upon, and very good three-point shooter, and it's part of his repertoire. But you have to do other things to get to that point, and that can't be your calling card for why you're on the floor. And I think McCulloch's played. I think he played pretty well against Washington. I think he's had some good moments this year. I think they're happy with his progress, largely, which is important going into next year. But he's got other things to worry about, and you don't know if he's going to deliver them to the point that you're game planning for when he's in the game. Let's get him shots. I do think they need to. I mean, there are times where when he's in the game, and sometimes it's not with Fears and it's with other backs, but they need to look for him. And and Fears, as he continues to his evolution, is a little bit more of a scorer at times, and his ability to score is great. But there are some times where he is passing up teammates to find his own shot, and he did that a couple times against Washington, and it worked. There's one time Kohler, before Kohler was 0 for 5, was wide open on the wing, and I think I would have rather had the Kohler open 3 than the mid-range from Fears, but Fears hit the shot, and he was in a flow. So I don't I think with McCulloch, next year he'll be an essential player, but what they need from him next year, the shooting will be there. They need him to be defensively capable, rebounding a certain way, all those things. And they're probably going to have to add a big man in the portal, too.
All right, Treese up next. Number 1, F.U. Collinsworth. And 2, it was so crazy trading spots with Jason. Yeah, that was wild, watching your wife act exactly how you act during a game, during a Lions game. She was going nuts, blaming Collinsworth for jinxing certain situations. I mean, it was classic me. And I was, of course, I dosed myself with extra MGs just in case if the Bears won that game last night. So I was, I was on Planet Brisbane. But I mean, so I'm looking at my wife. She's standing up, yelling at the TV. I'm like, oh, I do that. Huh? So it's good to have the fire back in her Bears fandom because since we've been together, the Bears have been pretty much ass. So I haven't seen it.
I'm picturing like Therese standing up in a defensive stance, swearing at the TV, and you so baked you don't even know where you are. It's a great.
I knew where I was, but it's you just have to prepare in case that Caleb Williams touchdown, the Komet one. It was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this because I was like, oh, so she's running through the house screaming her ass off.
It was that you brought up earlier that last touchdown from Caleb Williams. What was the defensive back doing there?
14. I kept watching it. They replayed even after on SportsCenter. I had to watch it one more time because I'm like, check his DraftKings app or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this looks like point shaving to me. And I understand it when they showed up finally. The last angle they showed, they were a little tangled up, and he got away and he lost his bat. But it was some of the worst defense I've ever seen. I mean, it was a great throw and a big moment. And there aren't a lot of quarterbacks that can maybe do that, but to be like 6 yards away from the receiver by the time the ball landed when you were right with them is pretty awful defending.
Spartholomew next. The Lions win the Super Bowl this year if they'd made a serious hire at OC. This Mickey Mouse playoff lineup has so much less talent than the Lions. I fucking agree. I mean, John Morton, you didn't know he was going to be that bad and then Campbell was going to have to replace him mid-season. I mean, yes, I totally agree. Because I watch these games and I'm like, God, we should be in these fucking games.
And we're going to talk about the Tigers in a little bit, and we give them grief for their lack of spending. And there's different reports of like how much money they actually bring in that they aren't really, making all that much money now. Whatever, they should be spending more than they are. We'll get into that conversation in a minute. But with the Lions, if you're truly serious about winning a Super Bowl, there was a way to do this. There is no salary cap on coaches. You could have, it would have cost a lot, and you would have had to pay Dan Campbell a lot more to do this. But you could be paying Ben Johnson $30 million a year, and he'd still be your coordinator. It's unprecedented.
I know,
but there's no cap.
It's not going to happen.
No cap. Well, I'm just saying, if you want to be ultimately serious, get a coordinator or do something unprecedented to win the Super Bowl that you've never won.
You're going to pay an OC $30 million.
Why not?
Over how many years?
Just an extra year. Just one. Give us
Really?
one more year. I would have said.
Tell the Bears to hold off on that.
Well, no. You just got to make it so worth his while that he'll wait on the head coach job.
Ken Chu, the Bears should have went for 2 in regulation. Ben didn't learn enough from Dan Campbell.
There were a couple times, though, he went for it, and I thought they should have kicked. I don't know. But
you don't go for it. I mean, I feel like your defense was playing. It wasn't like it was a back-and-forth scoring, battle like that. Like, when you're a coach, when you're in that kind of battle where you're like, well, you should probably go for 2. I don't think you can go for 2 there. You kick the point.
And the other reason,
right?
reason not to is that it wasn't like the Bears were easily moving up and down the field, too. It took an incredible play on 4th down, right? And, I'm a big – I don't – more than the analytics of whether you should or not, I'm a big proponent of sort of following momentum in your gut of how is your team playing, how is this game going right now. I didn't mind that. I thought earlier he probably should have kicked it.
Peasy next. That game summed up the Caleb Williams experience pretty well. Moments of excellence blended with pure what the fuck are you doing? And bonus, Cody Gapko should be tried for war crimes.
EPL, so Cody Gakpo.
Graham, explain to the people at home who Cody Gakpo is.
Liverpool winger, and Liverpool did not beat Burnley. I lost. It was a bad weekend where everything went as you didn't think it was going to happen in the Premier League, and I don't really want to talk about it. I'm going to need some things to go differently next week for me.
Can't be any worse than Brian Harmon in the 3rd round of the Sony Open, watching him bogey 7 straight holes on ESPN Plus. It's so great when you get a front row seat at watching your bet just collapse. Man, all I needed was a top 30. B Harm. Oh, man, it sucks when those happen. Jarrett, I would trade the past 3 Lion seasons for Drake May or Bo Nix.
I would for Drake May, not for Bo Nix. I don't think Bo Nix is better than Jared Goff. I think Drake May is, and he's young, and he would be great to have, for sure.
Do they
agree?
Do they trade? Or do they take Jared Goff? Do we get a pick into the mix or anything like that?
Let's just say
we just traded 3 years.
Yeah, you don't get to enjoy the last 3 seasons, and I guess this last one wasn't enjoyable, but the 2 before it, you don't get on your resume, but you get this team with Drake May or Bo Nix going forward.
So I don't get the Rams playoff victory. We're still winless in the playoffs?
Correct.
These questions. When are these questions ever going to be good? Like in my
favor?
This is a good
question.
Like,
I thought
no,
this was a great question. It's a good question.
So I have to get rid. I mean, we had 50-yard line seats. I mean, for that game, it was a great fucking day. I remember that day very fondly. I mean, a 15-win season. Yeah. I know, but it's up for Drake May. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's playing his ass off here. But I'm with you. You're right on Bo Nix. I don't know if I'd do it for Bo Nix. But how about I trade the last 3 seasons for $1 million? What are we doing here? You know. These questions are not ever in a favor of anybody. It's like, oh, if I say yeah, you're giving up on Jared Goff, asshole. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but there's a pecking order. In Drake May, look. There are guys you would take. You would take Drake May.
Yeah, but 100%. He's good in Vrabel's system. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't be good with the Lions. I mean, Jared Goff is the least. Anyway, why am I answering this? Adam Blonde swap Jared Goff for Caleb Williams on that last touchdown play, and Goff gets sacked. And bonus. And what are the Tigers doing this offseason? It's ridiculous.
A couple things. One, Goff, you're right on that. Goff gets sacked. A lot of quarterbacks would. I mean, Williams is a special talent, and you'd take. I mean, you would take Caleb Williams over Jared Goff at this point because he's younger and he's got more upside. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Would you give up your wife for Caleb Williams right now? Your favorite team?
I wouldn't give my wife up for anything.
Oh,
you know that.
Oh,
she's with me despite the fact that I'm breaking chairs in Airbnbs. You know, because it's
breaking multiple chairs on your podcast.
Yeah. And by the way, if you outkick your coverage in life with your wife, or you're hoping to, Muskox is here for you. I'm telling you, a Muskox flannel can help you. That first situation where you meet somebody, first impressions are important. You know, if you're in a T-shirt that's like showing your actual figure, maybe not. But if you're in a Muskox flannel, maybe you get a second look. Maybe you get an opportunity. Maybe you have the confidence to talk to somebody who shouldn't give you the time of day. Go to gomuskox.com where you can use the promo code PEACOCK for Couch in the Rube listeners for $15 off. There's also some incredible sales going on right now at gomuskox.com.
Skylar Verdon. Oh, you want to get into what the Tigers are they doing off this offseason?
It's frustrating. It's it feels like
crazy.
I don't know. It's gotten to the point of real frustration.
There's going to be a strike, though, right?
A year from now, there's going to be a lockout, right? Yeah, and so
why does it matter?
Well, the question is, will there be baseball in 2027 and all this goodwill that they've built up? Who knows? I think there will be. I mean, Solari disagrees with this. He thinks there's too much goodwill. There's the pillow talk with me and Solari at the bunk beds yesterday. But he thinks there's too much. Too much goodwill has been built up, and nobody wants to lose that or lose the money overall. I think there will be. What's happening with the Dodgers now? The Dodgers have screwed themselves here, I think, because they've annoyed more fan bases than just the ones that weren't spending. It feels like something's uneven. Something's got to give. This is. I think they crossed over a line that was stupid to cross over because they could have had advantages for life if they just dialed it back a little, and now something's actually going to happen.
Who earned the goodwill? What is he talking about? What's Solari talking about? They just signed Kyle Tucker. It's going to be ridiculous. I mean, their lineup is fucking.
No. I'm talking about the goodwill baseball has earned over time. I'm saying baseball by having the pitch clock and all the. It's just being a better sport. Like it's brought its audience back. I think it's done well recently, and it doesn't want to lose that.
I don't know. Everybody on Twitter that's a baseball fan seems like they just want. If you're not a Dodgers fan, they want you to blow it up.
And by the way, baseball. This is where baseball screws up. Like if you're the owners, do it in a World Cup year. Do it in a year we got something in June and July. Don't you do it next year? You're just being just complete.
No one to strike. Skylar Verdon. I low key want Scooble to go to the Dodgers just to watch the baseball world meltdown. Well, wait a year. We're not going to trade him to the Dodgers, so.
Yeah, and I don't know when the actual. What's interesting is. I heard somebody talking about this. When the, I think the collective bargaining agreement expires at the end of November, maybe. So it's possible that he could be signed and elsewhere before before a strike happens, before other things go into place next November. So it'll be interesting to see the timing of all that too.
Some dude, number one, I hate the Bears so much that I can't even watch the games. In the case that they win, it would bother me too much. And two, for Dominic's inquiry of why do we hate them so much, I hate all of our division rivals a lot, but the Bears the most. I think mostly it's because of my experience there and the way the people act as if they're so much better than others. I do respect all fandom and kind of feel a little bit bad for some of their fans. And while Ben Johnson is a douche, that's not that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
What'd they do to you? Like some dude? What? I mean, were you bullied by a pack of Bear fans at a tailgate?
So that can change the way you feel about anything, right? If you have one experience, like I hate the Tottenham Hotspurs, and partly because I was on a Tottenham Hotspur fan bus in Chicago in 2014, and I've never gotten over it. Like they were just so annoying to me. I view anybody who likes Tottenham as just this annoying little penis wrinkle, and I can't deal with them, and it just is what it is. And so you can have an experience that shapes you. And I would remind people, when you're representing your fan base or you're representing your company or whatever it is, like, people remember how you make them feel more than anything. And so, if you don't want to be thought of as a jackass and your entire fan base to be thought of as a jackass, treat people with respect. Look what Nebraska football is going for them, because so many people are so kind all the time. Iowa, like, you do it long enough, you get this reputation, and nobody hates these places.
I fucking hate Iowa. Kirk Ferentz is the most overrated coach of all time in college football. Shep, Couch, last week you said non-alum fans care less about rivalries and are less toxic. This is one of the most blatantly incorrect things you've ever said. Walmart Wolverines are the source of all the idiocy and toxicity in the rivalry. When I've had the chance to talk ball with an actual Michigan alumni, rare as they are, about 1% of their fan base, in my experience, they are decent folks. No ball, acknowledge cheating, and the overall gross nature of recent Michigan athletics. It's the T-shirt alumni crowd that jerks off to wins over high schools from 1867. Thinks Connor Stallions was a stable and respectable person, call things a nothing burger, etc. Whenever a Michigan fan attempts to talk sports with me, my first statement is, I only talk ball with alumni.
Michigan is like any fan base. Is that there are people who are nuts. There are people who have horrible opinions. We see it on the Michigan State side, and people know on social media who those people are. There's some people that Michigan State fans cringe when they speak, and they're Michigan State people, right? And Michigan, I guarantee there are lots of Michigan alums and Michigan fans who can't stand certain components of their base. I do think Michigan has more of them than some places. I think there's some baked-in smugness to the culture that you see more often there than other places, and maybe that's because they're one of the ultimate haves in terms of resources and other things, and they've had to sort of justify some cheating and behaviors and things like that. But yeah, it would be interesting if you were able to, on social media, if you were an actual alum of Michigan, you had a green check and you had a red check if you were just a fan, and to see who was most annoying and the behaviors, and to do a real research project on it. That
sounds fun.
Yeah, you want to do that?
No.
All right. I have to pee and get a new chair. Let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll get into more of your takes. Couch in the Rube, our Monday show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels, and also Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen Bar or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Ever wonder how comfortable you can be and how good you can look? Put on a Muskox flannel and find out. Muskox has new arrivals for this fall, including the Caper Green Grand Flannel, which even makes Couch look good. Muskox is a Detroit-based flannel company that creates soft and durable flannels made to last a lifetime. They become a great partner with Couch in the Rube, not just because they make us look good and feel good, but because they're good people too, and a socially conscious company. For every $100 purchase, $10 is donated to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation. Muskox flannels are designed with 100% cotton that is ethically sourced and double brushed for softness. Feel the quality and comfort of a Muskox flannel by ordering at gomuskox.com, where Couch in the Rube listeners can enjoy $15 off their flannel purchase with the promo code HOFF. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. If you're looking for a relaxed vibe, great food, and an outstanding beer selection, Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing is your place. Enjoy their famed chicken and waffle fries, fish and chips, or any of their delicious burgers or salads. Midtown Brewing Company also offers 40-plus beers on tap, including ciders and seasonal offerings and daily happy hour specials. The spacious and cozy vibe makes Midtown Brewing Company a perfect place for a beer with a friend, a work lunch, or to watch the games on its big screen TVs. If you'd rather eat at home, Midtown Brewing Company offers a terrific carryout menu and free delivery on orders of $20 or more. Visit MidtownBrewingCompany.net or stop by 402 South Washington in downtown Lansing for the Midtown Brewing Company experience.
Couch in the Rube, our Monday show presented by our friends at Muskox Quality Flannels. Go to gomuskox.com. Check out some of the sales they have going on now. Look your best, feel your best with a Muskox flannel. And our Monday show also presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar. They have a new private room at Front 43 and Cask and Company. If you want to get together with a group for work, a party, or just sit in a room by yourself and be waited on, which I think would be amazing, give Cask and Company and Front 43 a call. Ask for information on their private room at Front 43 and Cask and Company.
Parker Weiss up for next. Number 1, MSU will win a share of the Big Ten regular season title. Number 2, the Bears will at least make a Super Bowl appearance in the next 3 to 4 years. And 3, the worst and best game of the weekend was New England-Houston. Pure turnover madness.
It was entertaining but frustrating.
It was great if you had New England anytime defense touchdown. It was great.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, I was on a treadmill and at the anytime fit. So we're here in Eugene. We get in, and one of the downsides of an Airbnb versus my usual Marriott is you don't have a workout facility, right? You don't have a treadmill. Mm-hmm. And so we get in. We couldn't check in right away. We're at this like all day breakfast spot. Not quite Front 43, Cask and Company or Midtown, but it was a good place with the games on. But it didn't feel like a place. You know how you're at a place where you feel like, they don't want us to hold this table for 3 hours while we watch this game. It didn't feel like that sort of place. So Solari leaves to go baseball card shopping, which is his vice. And I go up to the bar and I'm like, I'm just going to sit here and get fat. This is the worst. And I see there's a Planet Fitness near me. I sign up. 1 month membership is like $15. And watch the game, and that's not even a good story. I just told it, presented by Midtown Brewing Company in downtown Lansing. I'm like halfway through that story. I'm like, this has no punchline. It has no. I mean, it's. Did
Solari get any good cards? I'm intrigued by that.
He always does. Yeah, he's a huge card hound. Like I think he might have just. I don't know if he's still here, but he was off to some card shop now. He always finds cool stuff, and he's like, if you're gonna have a vice, and you know this because you're a card guy.
Yeah.
It's one of the healthier vices you can have as an adult male. Find something like that. That's.
Well,
you don't think so?
It's pretty pricey. I've backed out of a lot of stuff because of the prices of certain cards. But yeah, it depends on what you're doing for sure. But yeah it can get pretty expensive.
To the idea of Michigan State sharing the Big Ten title, they're 6-1 right now. Michigan 6-1, Purdue 7-0, with Nebraska 7-0. Illinois is also 6-1. Wisconsin's 5-2. Like the top of the Big Ten is really, really good. Obviously, Wisconsin had that huge win at Michigan. I don't think they're quite going to be consistent enough. We'll see about Illinois. Nebraska won there. Nebraska has wins already against Michigan State and at Illinois, and they just won impressively again. They're 18-0. It's going to be fascinating to see. But you're not. The thing about this Big Ten is there are years where going 14-6 might get you a share, at least 15-5. This ain't that year because as tough as it is and as much as these teams have to play each other, these records are so good early. Somebody is going to get through it at like 17-3, like Michigan State was, last year in the Big Ten. It's like 17-3 is what I think it'll take to get a share. I don't know who it'll be, but somebody out of Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan State, Illinois gets there with only 3 losses. Michigan may be the most talented, you'd think, but we'll see. But MSU needs to keep that in mind. Like, you can't blow games. You can't lose to Oregon. You can't. If they win these next 3 games, they'll go into the Michigan game at 9-1. That's a really good place to be. And if you're able to beat Michigan at home, then you got a real shot at that. At the end of the season for Michigan State, though, when they're playing at Purdue, at Indiana, at Michigan, and 3 of the last 4 with just Rutgers at home in between there, is really, really difficult. And if they're going to get a share, they're going to want to be, no worse than a 2-loss team going into that, but maybe even a 1-loss team somehow. I think you're going to need to get to 17. Somebody's going to do that out of this group to win the Big Ten.
Gundy next. Number 1, the Bears season was successful, but largely based in luck. One of the luckiest seasons I've ever seen, and the wins didn't really come from the team skill. And 2, Nebraska ball is an awesome story, and I love Hoiberg as a coach in person, but they are not even close to true contenders.
Here's where I would push back on that. Like, they just beat Northwestern on the road 77-58. They beat Oregon at home 90-55. They won at Indiana by 6. And we've seen Indiana as a competitive team that was on the road. Won at Ohio State, beat Michigan State, won at Illinois, beat Wisconsin by 30 at home. I don't know what more they have to do to be serious. Like, they're good. Like, and so you look at their schedule. They have, Washington at home next, then at Minnesota. They Michigan on the road Tuesday, January 27th. And I think this is a huge win for Michigan State. Michigan is hosting Nebraska 3 days before it plays Michigan State. Like, that's a tough week. And now Michigan State will be at Rutgers and will be on the road before they come home, but that's still Rutgers. But yeah, Nebraska's got that week at Michigan, home rematch with Illinois, and then has Rutgers, and then home against Purdue. So that 4-game stretch will tell us a lot about whether they can sustain this. But you look at the way they're going to end the season, like, where are the losses going to come from? They end with Iowa at home. Interesting game. UCLA on the road, USC on the road right before that. Who knows what those teams are late in the season. Maryland, Penn State, Iowa before that, Northwestern. Like, there's a 4-game stretch really for them, which is Illinois, Rutgers. Michigan, Illinois, Rutgers, Purdue, where it's coming up at the end of January, beginning of February. That'll tell us whether Nebraska's serious.
C.E. Segenga next. Number 1, glad MSU missed on Bryson Tucker and ended up with Jordan Scott a year later. And 2, mid-range shots are out of vogue, but MSU's ability to get it and hit them might help them against Michigan, a Michigan team that doesn't give up much inside 8 feet. And 3, MSU undervalued by pollsters and still improving.
Yeah, pollsters and I don't know, the new AP poll is probably out now. And hold on, give me some Hoff real quick.
I see the stars come out of the sky. Yeah,
so Michigan State is, I think, 10 in both polls. I think that's the updated. First of all, pollsters don't watch basketball. And the other thing is, if you look at the Big Ten and the college basketball landscape, there are a lot of good teams, like 13. BYU's really good. Texas Tech at 12. Like, there's some good teams in that range that are below them. But they don't. Pollsters don't watch enough hoops to do these polls. These polls shouldn't be being done. They don't spend enough time on them. If anybody tells you they're spending less than 4 hours to do their ballot, they shouldn't have a ballot. It takes to do it well. Not only do you need to
4
watch 5
hours.
or 6. Oh yeah.
How much tape do you have to crush?
Well, no. During the week you need to be watching it. It's not about watching tape at that point. During the week you should be watching a lot of games. You should not have a happy marriage. You should not have small children. You shouldn't be, doing other things. Like, it takes. When I was doing this at a decent level, I was, my wife was living in Chicago, not because she didn't like me, but because she had a job there, and that allowed me to do the thing well. But then on Sundays, or I would spend all this time. Because you have to go through everybody's resume. You can think the week before that this team was number 6, But it turns out a team they beat earlier isn't very good anymore. And so you've been giving them too much credit. Like, you have to reevaluate every team all from the scratch every week. And if you're unwilling to do that, then don't have a poll. And if people are saying, well, that's too much, that's too serious, that's fine, but don't reference them. Don't put them in stories. I put them in the tip-offs that I do. I put the coaches poll and Associated Press poll along with the net ranking and Ken Palm. I want people to see the whole picture, but I'm never going to accentuate those AP and coaches like they have more value than anything else. People don't know shit who do this stuff, so I would not worry too much about them being undervalued. Jordan Scott, great get, and I think he's going to be, because he's not going to be a one and done guy. It doesn't appear. I think that makes even a better get. That sweet spot, if you can get guys 2-3 years and develop them in your program, and that's what you want in recruiting. It really is these days.
Roger Pepper next. We were at the game Saturday, and it was a huge Spartan crowd. But I was not surprised based on our alumni base in Washington. Crowd could have been larger with the viral plan. Seahawk game was right. Seahawk game at night. What the fuck? It was on. The Seahawk game was on, is what we're trying to say.
Sorry.
But Husky tickets are always available regardless. Our lunch restaurant was all Spartans too. Go Green. Go God.
Let's go Green. Go God.
Seattle was overrun in our hotel. Everybody was in a jersey. Even people weren't going to the game. You'd ask them, "Are you going to the game?" No, just wearing a jersey today. It was like, and they were in town for whatever reason. They weren't, but everybody was in a jersey. It was, and I knew that was bad news for Washington. Because think about what this is for the Seahawks, and the Seahawks, have had some, won a Super Bowl and had some big moments, but they are, it's a home playoff game. You're the number one seed. Think about what Detroit was the year that they had that home game with the Rams, and just, that's what Seattle felt like, and it's a bad time to be playing a college basketball game with a somewhat mediocre team at the same time.
Alex Mayer next. Number one, that's the best Wojcik has played, and if he can continue that, it's a huge development to allow Fears a couple breaks during a game. And two, you definitely have to play and start Carr, but keeping him to 22 to 25 minutes of all-out effort seems ideal. And three, that Airbnb is seeing at least 10,000 calories a day get demolished between Graham and Solari. Hashtag Raccoon Graham, hashtag Hyena Solari.
Hyena Solari, I love it. I will. One of the other advantages of this Airbnb is it's enough outside of town. Like, it is cool out here. It's like country roads, almost like Road to Hana, Maui type stuff. And I took a 5-mile drive up to the nearest general store that had some stuff yesterday. It is. But the advantage to that is you're not close enough to anything to do real damage. Like, you have to prepare. It's not like, you in a hotel, you go down and in the morning they have free breakfast, or you go down to that little area where they've got all the snacks, and you make lots of mistakes. So it's actually better to be here in that sense that the calories have been just a little healthier than
5 miles to that general store. You didn't walk, or
No, I didn't walk. It's the road is a beautiful drive, unbelievable drive. It's like 50 degrees here, and it's just unbelievable hills and farms and cool stuff. But it's a winding road. But it's not the sort of road you can just see somebody with a few too many beers and them come barreling around the corner right there. It's not a road you want to be walking on.
Sparty Barb. Number one, Kenneth Walker rushes for 2 touchdowns and leads Seattle to the Super Bowl. And 2, Carson Cooper makes a 3 versus Oregon. And 3, Jeff Kohler should be a weekly guest on your show. And bonus, shout out to MSU hockey for the revenge sweep this weekend. Go Green. Go guy.
Yeah, MSU hockey back at it. They're home finally again on the 23rd and 24th next weekend, so that'll be interesting to see them. It's a weird hockey season because if you look at hold on, give me some Hoff again one more time. Sorry.
It looks so good tonight.
Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair. So if you look at the stand, they're probably not going to win the Big Ten like they did the last couple of years, right? They're 7 points behind Michigan. It's not that they can't catch them, but less likely to happen than other years. And yet I don't think people care as much about that. It's about the postseason. So it's kind of a year of playing your best hockey, getting to the postseason, and it's kind of a weird, different kind of place to be than they have than they have been in a while. Carson Cooper makes a 3 against Oregon. So over the summer, Carson Cooper's just letting threes fly, right? I'm not just at the Moneyball Pro-Am where lots of guys hit threes, but he's hitting them in practice, and Izzo was okay with that. And I think he took a couple maybe early, and they didn't go, and it sort of hasn't happened. We're seeing that jumper. We saw it the other day, work from 17 feet. I would expect Carson Cooper hits a 3 in the next few games. It hasn't been part of what I think he hoped it would be this year for him. I think he thought it would be a good way to help him keep people honest, but they haven't needed it so much because Kohler's been so effective in that way and just the way the offense is. But I would not be surprised if Cooper makes one soon.
Rug and Tub next. Number 1, Couch, I salute you for not going crazy on Izzo when he said Denham Wojcik could guard anybody. His nickname should be SUV for the amount of times he gets crossed over. And 2, also, now that MSU's portal is done, what grade would you give it? The D-line room worries me. It's gotten worse than last year.
I give it an incomplete. I just don't know. There are some intriguing players there. I like, I've mentioned this before, that there are a number of guys with multiple years of eligibility, which I think is important in building something that's more than a 1-year deal. I think that's very important, and it holds up a little bit if you look at Indiana too. But I think that's really important when you're building a program right now. But yeah, there's not enough there. There really isn't. And there is, there's one more portal period of stretch, and you get a sense through spring ball what. I think, is there still a portal at the end of May? I can't even remember. Did they get rid of that? Hold on. Shit.
Jesus.
Sorry.
I stay under glass. I look through my window so bright. I see the stars come out tonight.
No, it's single. Sorry. That's it. This was it for the portal. That's a great point. That's so weird that they don't have the spring window anymore. I think they should do the opposite. I think no window now. No real spring practice. You have work. I mean, maybe you have some sort of spring practice, but then a mini camp of sorts after the spring and movement in May would be such a better deal. So again, I don't. You just look at it, and it looks like they lost a lot, and they added some guys, and I think there were some important guys they kept, but it's just impossible to know. To the Denham Wojcik point.
Yeah, shout out to you for not going off on Izzo. I know you usually do that.
Yeah.
Lose your shit on him?
It's not usually my thing. I think Wojcik is actually an okay defender in certain ways. Now, there are guys who, like a great quick guard can get around anybody. And the way Michigan State guards in the gaps that's how you counter that. Wojcik's a better athlete than he looks. I think he's an okay. I think he's a plus defender. Largely. I think what was important in this game, though, was that he was solid with the ball and had some moments driving to the rim and kicking. And his pass to Kerr Tang for that one of those Kerr Tang threes where he got the ball from Cam Ward on the break and in one step flung it to the other side. That's a really good play. And he made good plays. And there are still limitations to him. There's no question about it. But I don't – can he guard anybody? I wouldn't if I think that's an exaggeration. There are guys on Michigan State's roster that I would rather have locking somebody down on one possession. But I don't think his defense, other than not having length, which we see hurt him and hurt other guys, and that's where Jordan Scott's really effective, I don't think his defense has been an issue, even when he's had games that have been struggles.
Matty B next. Number 1, 2 things can be true. Denham fills his role well and did so even more on Saturday. It's also true that there are limitations there, and it could cost you down the road. 2, MSU will have to overpay as an investment on the D-line to get this football program going again. Otherwise, you may just be the Chicago Bulls in purgatory. Excuse me. Once you get credibility back, then you can go back to a Moneyball approach in certain areas.
I mean, there is an argument that at some point you have to overpay for certain guys. Now, you need those guys to work out, and you don't want to bank all on one guy. You don't want to do a couple D linemen or something like that. But there is certainly an argument that at a certain point when your brand isn't there and when you're trying to compete and convince people, you do have to overpay a little. You have to, and that's a a hard part of this, and that's why you don't want to ever let your program fall to a point where Michigan State's program has fallen. To more on Wojcik, there are limitations, and it could cost you. One of the things, I was figuring out when I decided to write that column, and after talking with Wojcik and Denham and Doug and Izzo and sort of, I wanted to give them a little voice, and there's some opinion mixed in there. I certainly wasn't going to rip him to shreds because I thought he played well, and I thought he's played well 3 of the last 4 games. And I think he is, I see the reasoning for wanting him over Ugochukwu and where they think Ugochukwu has shortcomings, not from a skill standpoint, but from a voice and running the show, and they don't think it operates as well when he's doing it. And that's fine. But it's also something you have to keep watching, because that can change. If Ugochukwu gets better in certain ways, you can't not react to that. If Wojcik falls off in certain ways, if he hurts you when he's on the court, you can't not react to that. It can't. It's not something that's static here, and so I think that's something to keep in mind.
Richard Kane, number 1, I'm going to disagree with Graham. I think MSU does have a guy who can get a bucket when they need it. Fears. He's increasingly able to get in the lane and to the hoop at will or get fouled at will, and I'm confident he'll do that frequently with another 10 games under his belt. And 2, not only should fans avoid giving the Tigers any more money until they get serious about winning, but fans should also avoid giving money to the most corrupt sporting organization in the world, FIFA. And 3, show contributors. At the end of the day, we got to be willing to give. All of us on this show, we got to be willing to give ourselves to Couch in the Rube. Let's invest in what we have in this show and with these people and see what the hell could happen.
Here. This is not my burner. Richard Kane is not my burner. I appreciate you.
Is that a GoFundMe startup thing he's talking about? What are we doing?
Invest emotionally or invest financially? We're all invested. I feel like a lot of you are already investing a lot of yourselves in this show. And we very much appreciate that. Like, this entire show right now is being produced by you.
You guys all invested.
Yeah, we appreciate that. But right. If you want to be part of this show at a greater level, we are always willing to listen. So here, a question on the Tigers: at what point is it important for fans to pull back and say, this is my statement? Like, they're better than they've been, so it's not like this is we've certainly seen worse Tigers years where it felt like that was more important. It feels like they're unwilling to take the next step financially. And where are you as a Tigers fan with that?
Well, we didn't go to a game last year. Well, we went to one game last year because that's Michigan fan Jordan hooked us up nice with that. So we ended up going to one game, but we really didn't spend much money there. But I'm also, I'm willing to, boycott things, but I'm also a hypocrite. So I want to boycott, but I still want to watch too. So I'm not. I feel like I can jump on board on things and boycott if someone else starts it. I don't think I could ever be the one to initially be like, fuck this team. I'm not going. I'm not paying another dime, because it is. I got to say, when it's nice weather out and you have tickets to Comerica, whether you get them for free or you pay a couple bucks, it's nice to go to a ballpark once or twice a summer. But yeah, it's shit. But I think you can voice your opinions, right? I mean, what's the difference? Are they? I mean, what kind of how are we going to shut them out to a point where Illich is going to change his mind?
Yeah, you'd have to get to the point where it was so bad he wanted to sell, and maybe at some point it gets to that, but I don't think it's there yet. I am not going to go to a game this year unless they show willingness to spend to the point of break even. And I don't know what that point is right now, but I don't think they're there. And I know I've seen the numbers in Forbes that make it look like they're closer to there.
Well, it's the TV contracts too, Graham. Is that FanDuel is up in the air whether or not they're going to be a partner with the Tigers. That's the other thing too. Is
they got to work on that. Yeah.
People mentioned. I mean, the Dodgers have their own network, the Yankees, and that's where a lot of that money comes from. And I don't know what they would have to do to get their own kind of network going. But I would be a part of something like that if they started their own network and were trying to charge a monthly kind of fee. If they did it right, I could see that becoming a thing.
Especially if they're going to invest that back into the club. Then you feel like you're contributing in certain ways. They've got to do that.
Don't make it look cheap looking and get Eric Poe on every other commercial.
The Cure Auto Insurance is not the answer. If they call to be a sponsor, they will not be a sponsor. So if you're part, if Eric Poe is listening, don't call. And by the way, nice days are great at Comerica, but if you're thinking, man, I can't wait till baseball and I'm going to go in April. Well, April in the D, as we know, is a little chilly, but a muskox flannel can make early season baseball feel like July, go to gomuskox.com and use the promo code Peacock for $15 off. The FIFA stuff is interesting too because, like, I'm going to the World Cup this summer, and it's costing for 3 different games. It's going to cost myself and Scott Powers each about $1,800, about average of $600 a ticket to get in, and we have good seats because at that point it's like a couple $100 less to have horrible seats. Well, if you're at that point, you're invested, and we've been saving for it. But we do have misgivings, and we would not be spending this if we weren't saving for it. And we do think what FIFA is doing to American fans versus other places where this is a little more baked in the culture is bullshit. And as it's not great. FIFA is corrupt, and FIFA is just gouging people, and it's awful. We put up with so many high prices in this country that the whole thing and a lot of sports should be down. People should be able to afford to have game experiences that don't, have to be really special deals. You should be. It is frustrating. I have my own misgivings. I too am a hypocrite, and so I'm going this summer.
Scotty Green's El Camino, number 1, forget every other key to the season we've mentioned. They'll go as far as fears takes them. When that dude is on and balling, they're going to be really, really hard to beat. And 2, Couch telling Jeff Kohler he'll hit him up when he lands, and assuming that they'll hang out is an all-time douche moment on the show. Also, I can just imagine you and Solari at the Airbnb hot tub together, contemplating recording a Spartan Speak shirtless. And 3, the Tigers are now the laughing stock of the league. Well played, Harris and Illich. Like signing every teenager in Venezuela is going to help. Give Scooball what he's earned. Your pizza is shit, and I hope Harris rips his balls with his zipper. Pizza's good at the stadium. Like if you go to LCA or Comerica.
It's different, interestingly. Yeah, it's just sort of
it costs $22 there. So
yeah,
they don't want to rip you off.
Yeah, look, you're right. I mean, fears is the key. I think people know that. And the Richard Kane point earlier on the idea that he is a guy who can get a bucket when they need it. I think there is some of that. We're seeing that increasingly. I don't think he's we have not seen him be a good enough shooter in a way that the way like a Jace Richardson was, to know that's always going to be there and trust it's going to be there. And you think of his 0 for 10 against Duke, which is his only real bad game against high major competition. But the more you see it, the more you trust it. And the more you see shooters around him like Kurt Tang, the more you trust it. And it'll be interesting to watch it all when it's like against Michigan and against teams that are against Illinois, against really quality teams, and what that looks like and who steps up and who's able to make it happen.
Scott, number 1, when you mentioned that Divine Ugachukwu doesn't come across to you as the guy to fight for a spot like Holloman did, does that mean you think he will transfer or would be fine being a role player on the team next year? And 2, I want Divine to take the backup point guard minutes this season. I don't like the let's survive the minutes fears is out of the game mindset, especially in February when we play 5 games in a row against extremely high-level point guards.
So to the Divine Ugochukwu question, I don't know what he'll do. I don't, he's a 1-year part of this program. He's already transferred once. I'm sure he knows the recruits coming in. If Fears is going to return, if other guys are having big minutes, I don't know what he'll see as his role and what, if he'll be looking to see if he can get money elsewhere and be a starting point guard else. I don't know what he'll decide to do. He's a sophomore now, so he can go somewhere and have 2 years. He could transfer after next year. I don't know what he'll do. My gut feel is that, I don't know that he winds up being a guy who's a long timer at MSU. That's just a gut feel. That's not anything he said or anything. Now, the survive versus do something more, like they didn't just survive with Wojcik in the game against Washington. That's the reason it was notable and a good time to write that column, right? The difference between Michigan State and Washington on the scoreboard until the middle of the second half was it was all that time that Wojcik was in the game, and granted, it was Kurt Tang's threes and all that stuff. I thought he was a plus player in a lot of ways. In the plus minus, he was about +3, and he was +8 in the first half. And he's only in for 2 minutes at a time. They monitor that, how it's going. But I don't disagree in that, like, if Divine Ugochukwu starts to show things that make him more valuable, is a point guard, even when you can see that as a secondary ball handler, or it's something to monitor. This cannot be about people's feelings. Now, one of the things I think they like about Wojcik is he's not going to complain. He didn't know what his role would be when he came to Michigan State, and you need guys on the team. I thought, his dad, Doug, had a point. He goes, you watch some of these teams they play, and you can see the heads hanging. You can see some of the attitudes because guys aren't getting the minutes they promised, the roles they promised. They knew with him that would not be an issue, and that's one of the delicate balances with that.
Matt Salisbury, number 1, it's kind of crazy. MSU wins by 17, and Jackson goes 0 for 5 from 3. And 2, if Fears keeps being aggressive, he will be a top point guard for one more year and shoots 32 to 34% from 3. And 3, if Cooper keeps hitting 15 to 18 footers, it will help Carr, I think. In bonus, F the Bears. I like that he put between 32 and 34% from 3.
I love it. Yeah. Very, very specific. Yeah, and I think they're hoping to get him for one more year. And why wouldn't you at this stage? Unless you're a really high NBA pick, you can pay a guy $1.5 million, and it makes sense for him. And I think Fears will care about legacy. I mean, this seems like his moment in college a little bit, but I think that could extend one more year. It's sometimes you have your moment and it's time to move on. But I don't think that necessarily has to be the case. I thought, to your point on Jackson Kohler not hitting shots and some guys not having it wasn't a traditional game. I thought one of the more promising things for MSU is they do have other guys who can do things when you take things away. Carson Cooper hitting jump shots because, or set shots, whatever they are, because other things are being taken away is important. Kurt Tang, getting hot is important. Now that may be more of a regular thing, but yeah, they're a really good team right now. By the way, just got this text from my wife. She says, I know you don't have service. I'm texting you instead of calling, which she doesn't know I'm doing a show right now because she never does. She doesn't even know if I'm here for a basketball or football game. But she is headed out with friends for an evening, including dinner at Cask & Company and Front 43. So that's what's going on there. If you want to say hi to my wife or you just want to, and I guarantee she doesn't know the national championship game's on, but you can go to that place and have that sort of experience too, where it's friends and it's not overwhelming sports bar vibe. It's not like that's what you have to be there for. I think their TV setup's tremendous. I think it's great at Front 43, especially on that wall behind the bar. But all sorts of reasons to go to Cask & Company and Front 43 in Lansing.
Daniel R. Patterson next. Western expansion to Washington, Oregon, and California has been good for the Big Ten. MSU's strong alumni fan turnout is among the best in the USA, boosting the Spartans on the road. Go Green. Go God.
I don't know if it's been
good. Green. Go God.
I don't know if it's been good for the Big Ten. I don't think it's been good for those schools. I mean, maybe there's some financial parts of it, like traveling east all the time. I don't think it's bad for Michigan State and Michigan and the teams out here. Because you think about, if you're at Michigan State, in football you go out there once, and you used to go out there sometimes for non-conference games. That's just been replaced. And in basketball, you make one trip a year, and you play 2 games over 5 days, and you get out of the cold. And last year was L.A., this year it's Pacific Northwest. They're at the Nike facility. Michigan State's basketball team was yesterday. It's not bad. It's you're on a nice flight for 5 hours direct. I mean, coming back, it's a little challenging once. Like they'll fly through the night, Tuesday night into Wednesday, get it back at 6, 7 in the morning, and have a noon game Saturday. I think it's good that that's a Maryland game at home and not like Michigan or something like that. But overall, I don't think it's, and I think for fan bases and alumni bases, it's been good. I would be curious to see if people out west feel that way. And obviously, if you're out east and you're an alum of UCLA or Washington, it's cool. If it's and if you want to recruit those areas, there are advantages. I think in other sports, it's not great. But I think in basketball and football, for the schools that are in the Midwest, it is not that bad.
Neurotic Pants, number 1, Jason should do an imitation of Graham on Molly. 2, money is all that matters in life. And 3, Graham should write a poem about grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, a limerick or something. I do like grilled cheese. There's no doubt about that. Some tomato soup and what would an imitation of me on Molly? I don't even know where that would begin.
Jason,
I don't know what I would
sound.
Do you
think that Bill Beekman?
That's exactly how it sounds like.
Gotcha.
Bill Beekman would be involved. Rago in Chicago. Number 1, why do people care who starts so much in basketball? End of the game is way more important. starters are a moment of the game. And 2, for a guy who traveled internationally for choir growing up, it was sus to hear Couch struggle to even name a band other than Springsteen. Bruce, I like Bruce. 3, why hasn't the 2026 football schedule come out yet? Fans always get screwed at the convenience of the TV execs.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the King's College Cambridge choirs and stuff like that. I mean, if you want that stuff, I'm kidding.
But if someone you name your top 2 bands of all time, excluding Bruce Springsteen.
I think part of it was people were saying bands. I don't have I have individual people I like a lot in
all right,
country and other music. Yeah, and I also like a ton of Broadway style music. Like my Instagram account is nothing but really cool Broadway performances and other things like that. And that's where I'm at. So I mean that's who you're talking to here. Which is thank you for listening, by the way. The question on the first 2 points, you're right. Who starts in basketball is a status thing, and I think it's important only when you're trying to manage a roster. If that status matters to a player more than other, you have to factor that in. Minutes can be dispersed a lot of different ways. Who finishes a game and who plays down the stretch is way, way more important. And the football schedule, I am surprised it's not out yet. The guy who does it, works for Michigan State, and I'm not just talking about he does for the Big Ten. And so there must be stuff going on because it's always been a month earlier than this. And there must be changes to teams' non-conference schedules. They're in the works, more Indiana-type Kirk Cignetti scheduling or whatever, teams trying to get out. There must be something that's making it tricky. I don't know what it is. It'll be interesting to sort of find out. But this is what has changed, though, with how late this has come out. I have a friend whose wedding was being held up by this, and she may have figured out a workaround, but she needed a road weekend because of where it is. And it's really not fair to people. You're talking getting married next fall, and you're in the winter trying to figure out when. But in Michigan State, which home football Saturday dominates, so no longer is it anybody's fault who gets married on a home football Saturday for in the Big Ten. You can't, we always say, my cousin's doing this. Should I go there? What a jackass. Look, you can decide whether you want to go or not, but it's squarely on the Big Ten at this point. It is not on your friend. People cannot hold up. You have to know a year out a wedding date. You have to know at least at this point, and that's bullshit in that sense. So, by the way, weddings in the fall, back on, nobody's fault. That's on the Big Ten for not having the schedule out.
Izzo's no longer got to go next. Number 1, the SEC and Big 12 are consistently rated as better conferences than ours, which has 5 teams in the top 13 and 2 in the top 5. This is a self-fulfilling problem, as this will lead to weaker NCAA seedings, more losses, and yet another year without a Big Ten championship. And 2, best wishes to the Red Wings great Mickey Redmond on his neck surgery. Can't wait to hear him back in the booth.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Mickey Redmond, what a legend.
Yeah, for sure.
Neck surgery, that's brutal.
The SEC and Big 12 are consistently rated as better conferences in the Big Ten. 5 in the top 13, 2 in the top 5. And we're talking basketball here. This is a self-fulfilling problem will lead to weaker NCAA seedings. It shouldn't this year. The top of the Big Ten this year, you win that league, you ought to be a 1 seed. There ought to be, I think right now there are, 4 or 5 teams that should be top 4 or 5 seeds, maybe top 4 seeds really. Top of the Big Ten is fantastic. It'll be interesting to see how that manifests itself going forward. The other thought with the Big Ten football schedule is I wonder if they got close enough or they're there now, but now Indiana's playing in the championship and they're just waiting. I wouldn't be surprised. They don't want people to start talking about next season when this season's still happening. That could be an issue too, having a Big Ten team still around. Another reason to get the calendar right.
Tim Graham, to elaborate on the protest response from Friday where you said protests were important, and Jason said there's too many, so the message can get lost. I was thinking more along the lines of every Saturday I see the same 5 people standing in front of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, if you're going to protest, you have to understand that numbers.
Oh, you mean the matter. Harbaughs? The Harbaughs are usually standing in front of Planned Parenthood. We'll take the kid if you don't want him.
You have to understand that numbers matter. Right, like if you're going to protest, we often at the LSJ when there's going to be something at the Capitol, we have to figure out what's worth the attention of story or coverage. If you look out the window or you go over there and there's 100 people, it's it's not even that big. If there's thousands, obviously it makes a difference. And your protest not only loses steam if you don't have enough people, you look like a quack. Like, you got to make sure if you're going to protest something, you got numbers, because numbers are what maybe people go, oh, well, this is something. What is this? What is that? Why are people angry? What's going on? When there's 5 of you, when there's 10 of you, if there's a huge area and there's just 100 of you, it looks like you're just a little off. And that's the thing you got to understand. Protest only works if you have numbers.
In Sparty, we trust if Indiana football wins Monday night, they deserve to be in the conversation as the best team of all time. 16-0, undefeated champs with one of the largest margins of victory in the college football playoff era, currently at 28.6 points per game.
So here's my problem with this. I think we have to look at everything in errors, because there was a period of time where you could have 120 scholarships and MAC schools just didn't have anybody who was any good, and there was a huge gap. And then that got near in the 2000s. You had all these pros coming out of smaller leagues. You could only have 85 scholarships, but then you wound up with teams like the LSU's and the Clemson's in the late 2010s, and Bama in that era with some incredible teams, and you wind up with like 95 Nebraska, and they're all different, and like this is a different era. Like, I don't think anybody has the depth they did, even though Indiana sometimes looks like it. So I think they might be, you could argue they would be the best or the best of this new era. But I don't know that you could compare teams to previous eras. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you can, and I think a large part of it is because of Cignetti and the way he did it and the way he came in and everybody looked at him like crazy old man. You called Michigan and Ohio State complete ass, and then 2 years later he ended up doing what he said he was going to do. I just think it's an amazing story, and no matter what era of college football it is, could you go through the lineup in a July topic, and is this Nebraska team from 95 better than this Indiana team? Maybe. The Miami teams who they paid their players too. It was just a different era, but those guys were getting paid. Some of those guys and the Hall of Famers that were on those teams, and we don't know what these players are going to become in Indiana. But for pound for pound, one of the best stories, and telling your whole fan base what you're going to do and how you did it, especially, they got to win tonight, obviously. But, I just think it's an amazing story. Yes, there's some recency bias to it, but not much. I think if they end up kicking Miami's ass tonight in a fashion like we've seen in the past where the first half it's over, I'm sorry, you got to put them up there.
And I think at some point if they do that, there needs to be, and I'm not saying Cignetti needs to do it while he's still coaching, because you don't want to give people the secrets to your sauce, so to speak. But like when he retires, I would find a book by him so fascinating on every step he took and exactly how they did this. And because I think it would be, it deserves a ton of credit. It's hard to do. What he's done is beyond the point of, oh, Michigan State should have hired him. Well, yeah, everybody should have hired him. The guys, we get that. Like every AD, like if you have outside of Alabama, which had Nick Saban at the time, Nick Saban was gone too. I don't know that there's a single outside of Kirby Smart, maybe. Everybody in the world should have fired their football coach when he became available, even a year before he was available, and hired him. Like, I'm sorry, he's the best coach there. He's done something that nobody else has done. We get that. It's beyond anything else. Yeah. And I would be very curious to know, not just, and I get he's great with accountability. I get he's found something that I've been critical of in terms of scheduling, because he believes he doesn't want his team beat up. They're going to focus on the Big Ten games. They don't practice as long, and they don't overwork. He's found some stuff, and some of it's just who he is. But I would love to know all the mechanisms in place and what they did at Indiana. I would find that really interesting, and I would love to read that.
And I would like to read Alan Haller's book and what he found so interesting about Jonathan Smith that made him want to bring a guy from Oregon State with no personality.
I will write that bestseller. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Matt C., number one, it feels like MSU football is only willing to spend about $10 million on their roster, which is below the revenue share. I guess their goal is 6-6 and use that money to pay off Smith. What a joke. And two, Ben Johnson is a better coach than Dan Campbell. The Lions are toast unless Holmes actually starts addressing roster issues instead smelling his own farts.
Well, first of all, the Big Ten, I believe, and I don't know this 100% to be the case, but at one point, $12 million was the minimum of your. So everybody's spending $15, $16 million on it, but you have to spend 12. Like 12 was like the baseline. It was a league-wide deal. So I don't know if that's still the case or if it's more, but everybody's spending at least 12 on their roster in football. And I would be look, Michigan State is not the roster may not look as inspiring as you want it to at this point, and they're putting mechanisms in place to try to really compete and contend in this stuff. But we don't have a firm sense of what each guy is making or where they're at or some of their approaches yet. We missed Original.
Graham, you were dead on about non-traditional teams having a chance in this new college football world because of money. But do you know, admit your hard, what the fuck? But
Sorry,
do you know your hard stance on rev sharing being enough to level the field is insane? Because this fake NIL is more important than ever.
It's not though. You have to get to a certain, like, think about this. If you have, like, think about baseball salaries and you get teams that don't have anywhere near the top, but they have enough, right? And that happened. Like, if you have, say, all you have is the rev share, and that's $16 million, and another team spending $30. Like, if you do it right, you're closing the gap on what it used to be before, when Alabama and Georgia were just stacking up good players, and they were getting, part of the selling point was, we'll get you to the NFL just because you're going to practice against the best here, and then you'll get a year or two as the starter. Like, that was working for a while. This is much more even than it was before, and all you have to do is look at the teams around who are doing it, and some of them have found a way to find more money, but the rev share is really helped even that initially. I don't think Kirk Cignetti could do what he did to the level he's done it anywhere near as quickly as he's done it in a different era, and the rev share is helped make that possible. By the way, Jason, a little breaking news.
Yeah.
It looks like the Lions have signed Cardinals OC Drew Petzing as their new offensive coordinator.
Someone sent that. Yeah, Jordan, Michigan fan Jordan sent that to me. I was hoping it was the fake Schefter.
It's,
in the Schefter thread, by the way, about this guy, the guy said, Arizona fans, tell me what to think before I crash out about not getting McDaniels. And we wanted him fired in 2024. This is an Arizona Cardinal fan, Mervin. We wanted him fired in 2024, but Gannon was too loyal to the bald terrorist. You guys are about to learn why they called him Drew Al-Quadzinin. Great.
Well, look.
Hey, they're smarter than we are.
There must be a reason. And, like, everybody wants their offensive coordinator fired. So that'll happen. I mean, that happens everywhere all the time. Unless, like a
guy looks like a thumb.
He's got a little Stephen Miller going to him. There's no doubt about that. That's not.
All right, great.
Well, we'll see.
Hopefully it's fake news. Hopefully Schefter got tricked.
All these, it's on a lot of different people's stuff.
Fuck, did everybody get tricked?
Everybody got tricked. Yeah.
Shannon, most of the top-ranked portal teams have a new coach who poached his old recruits and roster. Virginia Tech, Auburn, Kentucky, Cal, and Oklahoma State. Even Michigan. Michigan State's portal rank is 52, the worst in the conference. Somehow worse than Purdue. Hard to look past how kneecapped we are with Fitzgerald instead of a coach who could have looted their old program.
Let's let some things happen. I'm just, let's let things happen. I mean, I'm not saying you can't be frustrated, but I'm not going to say that and write that at this point when I just don't know what they're going to look like. And I haven't even talked with Fitzgerald since that initial day. To me, there is zero evidence at this point that it won't work with Fitzgerald. There may not be much evidence that it will, but it's just so damn early, right? They haven't played a game. He hasn't had he just got hired. They're trying to get this stuff going with Spartan Ventures and how they're going to pay players, and I'm just not willing to judge yet based on very little intel, and I'm also not willing to put. I'm not saying all the rankings of people are incorrect, but I'm also not going to put a huge amount of credence into a portal ranking relative to what that means for MSU's program going forward.
Jay Riemenschneider, I don't know why this has never crossed my mind, but my old boss was just like you, basically stealing a neighbor's cat by feeding him and letting him in. On a side note, I don't know how you guys let a strange animal inside your home. You don't know his habits, if he has diseases, etc. I'll pass.
What made you with Norm? Did you get him checked out and all that stuff, or no?
No, we just let it ride. We're like, fuck a veterinarian. We don't need to have him checked. Yeah, of course we did. He has shots. He's been checked out. We don't steal cats. I don't know his habits, but I feel like you put him into a home that's welcoming and loving and everything, they adapt pretty easily. I don't know. Yeah, but why does Jay have to be a fucking bummer on every I don't gamble. I don't watch the NFL. I don't watch pro sports. Great, dude. Your life sounds fucking like complete ass. So, I mean, Anyway,
I love you, Jay.
I fucking hate Jay.
He's
the worst person on the show, I think, pretty much. Unless
Jay,
Album's writing in.
Jay, he's kidding. But Spot was not like a stray. Spot has a good owner. You can tell by how soft and well taken care of. And Spot goes home every night to a different house. Spot likes to hang out with us. And we didn't steal Spot. We do give Spot back. But so yeah, we would not have let like some stray cat that looked like it was in rough shape just wander around our house. And we are taking a bit of a chance.
Boy, the story gets better and better. So if he looked rough, shutting the door on Spot.
There you
even
go.
In this weather.
Yeah. Thank you, Jay.
It's got to have a look. Ben Jen, an NFL team is supposed to win the Super Bowl every 32 years. All these coaches getting fired for not winning one seems ridiculous. Not like there's a Lombardi trophy this year for Baltimore, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh, plus all the others.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to just accept the idea that, the Lions have never won one. But I do get, like, sometimes people do overreact. Like Buffalo's, some people have different thoughts on Buffalo's coach. I don't think coaching was their problem, but maybe they feel like they need a jump start, and you have Josh Allen, so why not take a swing at somebody else if you think you need it? John Harbaugh had been in Baltimore forever. It felt like it had stalled out. Maybe Pittsburgh, Tomlin, Solari and half of Pittsburgh hates Tomlin in terms of their coach. So, I think you can't just wait your turn because it doesn't come. You have to make it happen, though, right? You have to. And Benjen had a couple more posting, or I apparently missed. I apologize. This is number 2. So I don't know what that
wasn't me.
Sorry.
Fart soup. Number 1, Solari is actually a pretty good hang. A lot of stories. And 2, the 10-second clip of Hondo in Africa that I watched was the greatest piece of cinema in history.
It's incredible. It's we got to find the full thing. Nobody can find it anywhere. I was talking to Solari about this, and he can find everything. And we'll put some calls in. I think he has asked some people who worked at TV stations. Like nobody has found the full Hondo in Africa when he
just ask him. Ask
stands
Hondo
on the beaches and hides his head in shame. Solari is a good hang. Hung out with Fart Soup in Seattle and had a really good night. Took us downtown near the fish market and enjoyed ourselves.
Justin Furlong next. The picture of Johnny Spirit at the Universal Dance Association National Championships in Orlando, trying to inspire the next generation of Spartans, is proof everyone needs to buy a Muskox flannel. My daughter thought he was cool.
So there's a picture.
Whoa, Justin, where's your daughter at right now? How old is she? She thought he was cool. Like Johnny Spirit?
There's a picture of Johnny Spirit that he put along with this.
Yeah, I know. I tagged Solari just to get him fired up, but he doesn't check Twitter.
If you're Johnny Spirit, this should be your goal for life. If I was Johnny Spirit's therapist, I would say what you want your goal, and this may not work, but your goal should be when your life is over, you will be known for something else other than Johnny Spirit. Like that should be your goal. From this point forward, work hard at everything else so that you're remembered. Something else in your obituary becomes before creepy Johnny Spirit. That would be the goal.
I know, but how long would you have to do the new bit to wash away the Johnny Spirit bit you've been doing for almost 50 years or whatever? I mean, that's
what I'm saying.
No
you're going to have to go hard.
You just have to lean in and own the Johnny Spirit thing.
It also starts with a muskox. And so if you're trying to change your life, again, a muskox flannel, go muskox.com, Peacock for $15 off.
Blow Goo Boner next. Mark Cuban can openly brag about bankrolling Indiana while being a minority owner of an NBA team. Our cash cows can do the same. The formula is set. Bankroll your roster, make playoff, and have a chance. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? Are we sure Cuban's bankrolling the whole thing? Like I watched Shark Tank. He's very shrewd. Like he turns. I don't think he's just handing out $100 million, right? Like,
and he gave more this year than last year. Said, and I, the fact that he's bragging about it, I think probably means he's giving less. I think there are lots of people who are fired up in the Indiana money community. It is. Look, it's. You do have to spend, but the problem is when you're Indiana at a place you are right now, people are happy to spend because they feel like they're part of something. That's hard to last, and I'm not saying it can't there. And maybe this is this unicorn. There are places, but the donor fatigue stuff and getting people to donate when it doesn't work, when the quarterback then just leaves, you see more and more big money people posting about screw this, I'm never giving again. It's a tricky, hard thing. That's why what Michigan State's trying to do with Spartan Ventures, I think, is a smart approach. Whether it works or not, we'll see. But you have to have something that's sustainable. You have to find other ways than just putting your hand out year after year after year for people who aren't always going to see any sort of return, let alone a real return. But like sometimes it's just going to go poorly, or some kid's not going to stay, or honor a deal, or whatever it is.
Hans Jurgen, Yogi Berra, hot takes. Number 1, that was a close blowout of Washington. 2, Jesse McCullough is a good scorer, though he has few points. 3, Cam Ward doesn't have many rebounds for such a good rebounder. And bonus, let me know if I should retire Yogi forever.
I don't mind Yogi. I don't know if these were great Yogis, but I know where you're going with the Yogiisms. I
retire it.
Yeah, it's not. You could do better. I'd like to see you do better. You could keep working on it, Hans, and send them in, and we'll keep reading them.
I think the old pervert bit is like the best part. Jake Hoggins, number 1, add the Buffalo Bills to the list of NFL teams that somehow can't seem to catch a break. Felt really bad for them Saturday night. Also, by God, the NFL refs are pure stinking ass. Since when does a defender have a chance to rip the ball out when a receiver went down with it? And 2, last night's game was absolutely insane. That throw late in the fourth quarter where Caleb Williams backpedaled 10 yards, threw up a prayer, and somehow found Cole Kmet in the end zone was insane. The words out of my mouth were, all caps, "Are you kidding me?" And 3. So the college football national championship game is tonight. Almost forgot about that. Feels like the college football season is over with before the game even starts tonight. The college football calendar needs to be fixed ASAP, and making the playoffs 16 or 24 teams would be a disaster.
Here, Jake. 24 seems like you're just killing the regular season. You can make an argument to 16, especially if the first 2 rounds are on campus sites, because it's no more extra rounds, right? You're just getting rid of buys. Anything above 16, I think, is just makes the calendar even more difficult and is too much. 16 is probably the max you can get to.
And finally, the jerk guy. Number 1, the officiating in women's college basketball may be worse than in the men's game. Woof. And bonus, Groovy Donuts should make a donut and call it the couch special. Yeast donut with a thickened pea soup filling and your face in frosting. Don't tell anyone about the filling. Just let them be surprised.
Pea soup filling that you're surprised about? God, I don't want to be known for that. I mean, I know. Certain things, savory versus sweet, Pea soup's a wonderful thing. I don't know if I can sell that to Groovy Donuts, especially after today's chair incident. Anyway, we appreciate all of you. Thank you for producing our show. Jason didn't mean it, Jay. Just saying that. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate our friends at Front 43 and Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar, as well as Midtown Brewing Company. And, of course, Muskox Quality Flannels. Look, feel your best. You'll notice the difference. The people around you will notice the difference. And, you'll feel warm, you'll feel good, and you'll be confident. Go Muskox.com, Peacock for $15 off your flannel purchase. We'll be back later in the week. Thursday or Friday show, we'll figure it out. I get back late Wednesday. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Room.